Hello, everybody. My name is Dave Jackson, he, him, and this is Tales from the Backlog, where each week I'm joined by a guest to deep dive a game from our backlogs. Today's game is Pokémon Scarlet and Violet. But before we get into that, a few quick things. If this is your first time here, first of all, thank you for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed the show. Here's how spoilers work. We are not going to spoil, let's say, the cool late game stuff in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for a while. We won't talk too much about the story in specifics, so you are safe if you don't want to know what happens at the end. We'll warn you when spoilers are coming. There is also a timestamp down in the show notes for when spoilers will start. And if you like the show, please consider supporting however you can, whether it be monetarily on Patreon, telling a friend, sharing the episode in Discord servers, etc. Ratings and reviews, all of that is very helpful. But I am not here alone to talk about Pokemon. I have two returning friends of the show. We've got Kate Hunter, aka Cater Blossom, she, Annie, and Emily Merritt, aka A Specific Egg, she, her. Kate and Emily are the hosts of No Small Games. They are Twitch streamers and certified Pokemon champions. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Dave. Thank you. Thanks for having us both back. Oh my gosh.
Of course. Really happy to have you both back on here for maybe the most unlikely game that the two hosts of No Small Games would do on another podcast.
Yes, I am thrilled. This is actually, I was telling Emily, and I don't know if this is true for Emily too. I feel like it's maybe not, or maybe it is, but this is my first time doing a deep dive on a game that's not an indie game on any podcast. So it's a big day for me.
Yeah.
I got to talk about Tiny Tina's Wonderlands on the Play Along podcast, and that felt like such a guilty pleasure moment where I was like, ooh, dipping my toes in AAA territory.
We had joked that your kind of like motto on No Small Games is that there are no small games, only small game studios. We're just talking about like the biggest franchise ever on this episode. Nothing bigger than Pokemon. So I'm really excited. This is going to be fun though.
So stoked. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Previously, if people have not listened back in the back catalog of the podcast, Kate was here for an episode about unpacking. That was episode 157. And Emily was here for an episode about Super Hot. That was episode 165. Sorry, that was an episode about Super Hot. And good to have you both together. It's a rare pleasure to have the both of you here. Today we're going to talk about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. They are role-playing games developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo and the Pokemon Company for the Switch in 2022. And notably, they got an update for the Switch 2 in 2025. So the director of the game was Shigeru Omori, and we'll have some more credits as we go along. If you don't know what these games are, we have our customary quick pitches in case you don't know about Pokemon. I say Pokemon Goes Open World is the pitch for Scarlet and Violet. Kate, what would you say?
I would say scaling mountains and flying over beautiful landscapes with a majestic friend while sometimes catching Pokemon.
Sometimes, if you feel like it. Just
heavy on the sometimes.
Occasionally.
And Emily.
Pokemon canonizes the eating of cloth claws. And also, Pokemon goes to Spain.
Yeah, there we go. We'll talk a little bit about that too. Pokemon has been doing that like the last several generations, taking different areas of the world as inspiration for their game worlds. And this is the Spain one. So I played this on the Switch too. I waited until the update. So I played this entirely on the Switch 2. I did both DLCs. I completed the game. All of that took me 55 hours. So you both played this before me. So did you play it on the Switch 1? How long was your playthrough?
Kate, you want to go first?
Yes. So I played this on the Switch 1. And yeah, I feel like I hit 70 hours as of recently because I did a lot of exploring. Basically, I'll get into it later, but it took me a while to beef up my team to beat some of these people. So but I played it when it came out, I think was when I picked it up. So
okay.
On the Switch 1, yes.
And I also played it starting at launch on the Switch 1. I streamed it for quite a while. It was like my primary game on stream, like before No Small Games was even a twinkle in our eye.
Right.
So I've actually played it I was astounded to see on my Switch, I've played it for over 115 hours.
Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, there is definitely like there's enough stuff if you're doing a lot of picnics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of ways you can spend time in the game for sure. So I'm not super surprised. But all of this to kind of, set the expectation. These are not short games. Even like by the Pokemon series standards, I feel like these are pretty long. The open world probably adds some time into that, especially if you're just sailing around and, optionally catching Pokemon. So we always start with our histories with the game and with the Pokemon series. I have not done too many Pokemon games on the podcast. I think the only one I've done is Legends Arceus in the Pokemon trading card game for Game Boy Color. But this is like the first like main series entry on the show. But before I talk about myself, how about the both of you? When did you get into Pokemon? Because I was kind of surprised to hear that you both were Pokemon fans. So when did that start?
So I've been obsessed with Pokemon since I heard about it when I was like, I don't know, 7 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like buying anything that I could find within reach that was Pokemon related prior to actually picking up the games. I got Yellow and Gold at the same time for Christmas in 1999. Gen 2, Gold and Silver are still my favorites, and Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I was also the kid who always bought like the Prima guide to go along with the game and like
Yeah.
had the guide open next to me as I was playing. And I think I still kind of take after those same behaviors now when I'm playing Pokemon. Played most of the mainline games. I dropped off a bit after I think I played part of Black and then dropped off for a while. I don't think I picked up Sun or Moon or Black 2. I played a little bit of X and then picked back up on Sword, which
Mm-hmm.
I know got kind of mixed reception from the Pokemon community, but I loved Sword. I had a great time with it. It kind of gave me a lot of the nostalgic feelings that I hadn't really been getting from some of the other mainline games. So yeah, obsessed. That's my backstory with Pokemon.
All right. So one Pokemaniac out of 3 so far. Kate, how about you?
Yeah, so I grew up loving Pokemon, just like the physical creatures, like the plushies and the cards. I was a big collector of the physical cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Pokemon Snap with my boy cousins. They were the only people that I played games with, like any video games with when I was a kid. So I always really loved Pokemon, but actually the Pokemon game that I've played the most is Pokemon Go. I started in 2016 and I kind of became really obsessed with it. I actually still play today. And I do raid battles and catch Pokemon with my mom and my little sisters. It's like a family activity for us.
Nice.
So that's really fun. And we're all, well, I'm Team Instinct and all the rest of them are Valor. So it's a little bit complicated. But it goes well for the most part. So yeah, Pokemon Go, I'm super into. And then when I got a Switch, I've just like, it's funny because now I'm so into indie games, but every time a new Pokemon game comes to the Switch, I buy it and I play it. And so I've played all of them. The only ones I haven't finished are Legends Arceus and Brilliant Diamond, but I finished all the others, and I'm actually on my almost done with my second playthrough of Let's Go Pikachu. So I really love Pokemon and always have, but it's been fun to sort of start playing the actual video games, and I would love
Mm-hmm.
to like eventually go back and play the non-Switch Pokemon games basically. So yeah, that's kind of my history with Pokemon.
Right on. It's interesting to hear you both kind of like get into the series via merchant like non-game stuff
Mm.
first, and then like you like play the games and you're like, oh yeah, these are actually fun too. Like this is all cool. I started with the game, so I got Pokemon Red for Christmas in 1998 with a Game Boy, and it was just like this is basically like a dividing line in my life, like before that and after that. And that was like the first game I was ever like obsessed with. And I went on to play all of them up until I think I stopped. I didn't play Black and White and Black 2, White 2. And I skipped to X and Y. And I picked up Sun and Moon. I can't remember why. Like I got a DS from somebody, and it might have been like in the DS or something. Like I just like maybe I picked it up at a used store or something, and I didn't like it. I hate those games. They're super boring. And so I was like, I wonder if I'm just like done with Pokemon. Are they like not making them for me anymore? That's a big thing with like Pokemon fans that feel kind of disillusioned with the fact that like, hey, I'm 40 years old and they're not making games for 40-year-olds. What's going on? So I kind of had that, but then kind of like you said, Emily, I picked up Sword just because it came out and enough people were like, this is actually really fun. So I picked it up and I loved it. I really, really liked it. So that kind of like reinvigorated like, yeah, actually these games are still really fun. I just think I didn't like Sun and Moon. That's the thing. So with Scarlet and Violet, I did not pick it up on day one because as soon as those reviews hit and people were like, this runs like shit and like it crashes all the time, like people are saying like there's a good game under it, but you got to suffer through it. And like I kind of held out until the FOMO period was gone. And then I was like, all right, they're going to patch this someday, maybe on the Super Nintendo Switch or whatever they call the Switch 2. So that's what I did. I waited until the Switch 2 patch came out and I picked it up the day I got my Switch 2. It was like, I got Mario Kart, came with my Switch 2, but my launch title was this game, Pokemon Violet. Real quick, did you play Violet or did you play Scarlet?
I played Scarlet.
Violet.
Okay, I also played Violet. That's all right. Me and Emily teaming up.
Can I ask everybody why you picked one or the other?
No.
For me, purple is one of my favorite colors. So just a no-brainer, even though Scarlet is like a significant color because it's one of the colors of like my alma mater and like the Ohio State University. Scarlet and gray. This is like my whole life has been scarlet and gray, but I also just love purple as a color. So Violet was the pick for me.
Yeah, I feel like I'm one of those super annoying people, and I'm like, I always want to pick the one that's less popular, and I feel like that's why I picked Shield as well. But I don't actually know if Scarlet and Shield are less popular, but I feel like everyone I know was getting Violet and Sword, so I was like, okay, I'll get Shield and Scarlet to see what the
that's
big deal is.
Good person to have around. You need someone to trade with.
Yeah.
True, yeah. I was hot for the trades back in the Shield days. So yeah. What about you, Emily? I feel like your Violet just makes sense for you.
Also purple. I love purple. I was like, lock it in. Say no more.
Yeah. So to do our kind of quick thoughts about Scarlet and Violet. This is it's a really interesting game for me. Like when I put on my critic's hat to come on here and do the podcast, because I really liked playing the games. But I think that is mostly because I think that Pokemon games are a structure that works really, really well for me. I like catching Pokemon. I like assembling a team. I like battling the gym leaders. I like doing the Elite Four. Like that structure that has basically not changed since Red and Blue. It's good. It's a good structure for a game. It works. But then all of the things that are like built on top of that structure in Scarlet and Violet, the fact that it's open world, the fact that it's kind of got like a nonlinear story design, you can just kind of go around and do whatever story missions are near you. The fact that it has a story that's like trying to do stuff. I think a lot of that stuff is pretty bad in this game. I think the open world sucks. I think the encounter design sucks. The game looks like trash, even though it runs well now. It doesn't look good. And I always heard like, the end of the story is really good, and I agree. The end of the story is cool, but like the previous 40 hours were like nothing. So like it's kind of hard for me to be super invested when you get to the part that's like that good. So for me, this is one of those games that like when I look at it critically and I'm like, does the open world serve the game? Does it make it better? I actually don't think that it does. I don't think that the nonlinear structure makes it better. But I had a good time playing it because I like Pokemon games. And I think like both of those can coexist. We can have both conversations at the same time. Like the strengths of Pokemon are still good. And then like this other stuff that they brought in with this game, I don't think is very good. So where are you two sitting with this one?
Yeah, I feel like, so this is kind of like the first open world game that I've played or like played enough of, I would say. So yeah, I feel like for me, it was really interesting to kind of like shift my mindset to Pokemon open world because in Shield, they have like the wild area, which is like baby open world, maybe you could say.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I it took me a minute to get used to, honestly, and like looking at the map and just understanding how an open world game might work. But yeah, so for me, not a huge fan of open world games, but I like this approach when it comes to Pokemon, and was interesting for me to try an open world game like this. But yeah, I just feel like overall, like as an experience, a Pokemon experience, I definitely have had a more solid time with a lot of the other titles on the Switch. But speaking to like the glitches in the early days of this game, I thought were quite funny. And there's just sort of a vibe in this game. Like there's a really strong vibe in Scarlet that I just feel like it's Pokemon not really taking itself too seriously. And it never really does. But in this game in particular, I just felt like it really worked. Like leaning into the silly moments and even the glitches, which were obviously not intentional. Like just the whole package and experience to me was like comedy and unseriousness. And I guess I just enjoyed that vibe. So hopefully that makes sense. But that's kind of like my overall opening thoughts.
Yeah, that definitely does make sense. Especially if if you turn a corner and some character's glitching out, that's a very gives a very unserious vibe for sure.
Yeah.
Emily, what would you say?
So it reading your notes beforehand, Dave, I was like, I could have this is what I had in my head. So I agree with everything you already said. When you first asked if I was interested in doing this episode, I was like, yes, I loved that game. You were like, yeah, I started playing, like it's kind of bad. I was like, oh yeah, it's super bad. It has all kinds of problems. But like, I think I'm the same way, where I just love the world so much. And like you said, the structure of just how Pokemon games go. I'm not even a big creature collector fan in general, but this specific formula that they've got going on, just something really works for me. I feel like what they did with this, I think that they kind of half-assed the open worldness, and they took essentially like the formula or the structure of a Pokemon game and they sort of slapped it into an open world. And I think the fact that I decided to reject the open worldness it to a degree when I played helped, because I think my predilection to like just having the guide already helped, because I just played with a guide that told me the best order in which to visit all of the key landmarks and events and stuff and all the gyms. And I think that helped a lot to kind of treat it like a traditional Pokemon main title, but placed in an open world. I think the biggest surprise to me was like what Kate was talking about, the fact that it did seem like they weren't taking it very seriously, for better or for worse. And I was surprised that they were open to launching this title with so many blatant performance issues. It felt very un-Nintendo to do, but I still had a great time. I love this game,
Yeah, there's definitely like a separate conversation about like I think like the business side of the Pokemon company screwed this game over, where like they can't delay a Pokemon game because then they'll miss, they got to make the toys, they got to make the cards, they got to make the anime, and everything has to be on this timeline. And so like they can't delay it, I think. So like with that in mind, like it still doesn't make it acceptable to put the game out, but you at least see like why. They didn't just look at it and they're like, yeah, this is good, ship it. But yeah, it's an interesting game. We'll get into these things in more detail as we go, but it is an interesting game to have both of these things living inside of me. The critic that is like, man, this open world sucks. Like, this is one of the worst open worlds I've experienced in a long time. But like, I like Pokemon. So like, if I see a bunch of Pokemon, I'm going to go fight them and catch them and, teach them to fight for me and my honor and stuff like that. And
so true.
I'm going to have a good time doing it. And it's one of those, like, you can have a good time playing a game that you think is subpar. Like we all have games like that. And Pokemon, I don't think that like all Pokemon games are like this, but I definitely think that Violet is critically one of the worst ones that I've played. But I think that it still hits the marks to where I can still have a good time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I feel like they're doing a lot of things to bring it into the future, like having a VTuber gym leader. And also, like, I just want to say, I wanted to add because Emily mentioned, like, I think we're both talking about the spreadsheet, right, Emily? That Cats Are Me
Yes.
gave. So we were both streaming this game. A lot of people in our Twitch communities were streaming this game and playing this game at the same time. And we have a brilliant friend, Cats Are Me, who's a spreadsheet freak. And I think she
Mm,
made this spreadsheet that kind of told you where to go and when um, throughout this game. And that was a huge tool for me and like a huge piece of my enjoyment of this game because
nice.
like I had never played an open world game before and I'm like, I don't know where to go, but the spreadsheet really was my guiding star. So that was really awesome to have.
Nice. Shout out to all the spreadsheet freaks out there. Like you're honestly like I love each and every one of you because I just can't do it. And I've got a couple in my Discord server where I'm like the spreadsheet's fucked. Can someone go look at it? Because we have our backlog resolutions, big
Someone
spreadsheet
help.
with like 50 tabs on it. And I'm like, can someone go look? And they're like, yeah, we got this. No problem. I'm like, you all are the fucking best. So,
Yes.
all right, let's take our first music break. When we come back, we will kind of set up the beginning and the story of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet takes place in the new Paldea region, which is modeled after the Iberian Peninsula. Other than, in my opinion, my experience, Emily, I'm curious to get your take on this. Other than some proper nouns, some familiar vocabulary, like they call one of the Elite Four members La Primera, like I didn't get Spain vibes from this. I got almost nothing. Like maybe there's like some architecture that you might recognize, maybe some food or something, but like I wasn't walking around the world being like, yeah, this looks like what I've seen from Spain. Granted, I've never been to Spain before, but it seemed pretty anonymous to me.
I think that they maybe went too subtle or because I saw things everywhere. I was like, "Oh my god,
Okay.
this area is based on this region." And I was trying to figure out like I think this city is supposed to be modeled after this real city in Spain and like trying to match them up. And then yeah, like food. They actually used quite a bit of Spanish in the dialogue, but
Yeah.
just it's sprinkled in, which I thought was really fun. So I think they actually did a great job of representing Spanish culture and food and stuff. But I think it was maybe, if anything, too subtle.
Mm.
Like to the
So
point where like if you're really familiar, you'll catch it. It's
yeah,
like I'm thinking back in my head to like Sun and Moon were based on like Pacific Islands, and it was like super obvious with where their inspiration was from and stuff like that. Same with Sword and Shield. And I don't know. Kate, did you pick up on this stuff?
Yeah, and I've spent a lot of time in Spain just to be fair,
Fair.
and grew up speaking some Spanish and learning Spanish in Spain. And I feel like I was just that was part of my thrill and enjoyment of this game at the beginning. Like I was like, oh my gosh, there's some Espanol, and I was definitely getting the Spain vibe. So I think that really like jump started my hype for the game, and also made it just like so exciting and endearing to me. So yeah, I definitely got the vibes, but maybe
Okay.
there could have been even more for sure.
Yeah,
mhm.
fair enough. It sounds like if you're like again, if you're familiar, then you catch it, and that's cool. I didn't catch it because I don't have the familiarity. So
Mm-hmm.
cool that it is there though. So the game begins. You play as a young kid, as always. You're starting school at a prestigious Pokemon Academy. At the beginning of the game, you're given the choice of the three starters per tradition. They are Sprigatito, who's a grass cat, Fuecoco, who is a fire crocodile, and Quaxley, who is a water duck. So, biggest question of the episode, who did you start with?
I started with Quaxley, which is rare for me. I don't usually pick the water starter.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I always pick grass, but I picked Fuecoco because I love alligators and Fuecoco is so cute.
Yeah, I picked Fuecoco also. I usually pick the fire starter. Ever since Pokemon Red, when I pick Charmander, it's usually what I go with. And I just got to say, Fuecoco's cool. The middle evolution, I forget the name, also cool. The big evolution, they did him real dirty with the design. He's got clown hair. It's real weird.
He does look weird, now that you mention it.
Quaxley, happy with the decision there, Emily?
Yeah, I think so. I think that Quaxley ages most gracefully and just has a lot of like flair and vibe. My chat was also really influential in this decision. They really wanted me to choose the gay duck, and
that's fair.
Held it up for me.
Okay, cool. So the game kind of begins. You're starting at this Pokemon Academy. The fact that you're at an academy, people might be listening and be like, oh, is it like, you're going to school and you're going to class? No, the academy is really an afterthought. What they do is like the day you get there, they're like, oh, our treasure hunt begins today, which is basically we just release all these children and adults. There's a lot of adults, like students at the school too. They just release all the students out into the wilderness to go find treasure, whatever that means to you. So that's your excuse for going out and wandering the world, basically.
I forgot about the weird adults.
Yeah, you'll get like a guy that's like, hey, I'm in your class. You're like, man, you're 45 years old. What's going on at this academy?
Yeah, you're cashing in social security checks. Why are you here right now?
Hey, I mean, like, is it that your character has so much potential that they're like, you go in the class with 45-year-olds, or what's going on?
The potential of your main character is always overhyped, in my opinion. I'm like, wow, you like really believe in me in a way that seems nice.
Yeah. So it's a very alternative method of schooling in a lot of ways. Honestly, like there was a couple times like I'd play for 10, 15 hours and I get a call from like, hey, it's the director of the school. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be a student right now. Okay, cool. Early in the game, you get a mysterious Pokemon. In Violet, it's called Miraidon. I don't know how to say it. I didn't write down the version for Scarlet. It's not the same name.
It's the same name, but starts with the K instead of M, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the one that's on like the cover, and you don't fight with it. It serves as number one, it's a motorcycle, but also you learn new moves. So you don't have HMs in this game like you used to in the old games. Miraidon just learns how to jump and how to swim and, all the things that a big monster should be able to do. So the game is broken up into 3 primary storylines, which you can do in any order. You have the Elite Four in the Pokemon League, like always. You have 8 gyms, then you fight the Elite Four. You have a character named Arvin, who is kind of like a rival character, who sets you on this quest to find these magical herbs because his Pokemon Mabosstiff is injured, and you need the herbs to bring them back together or to help him heal. And then you have this third storyline with this delinquent group called Team Star. There's always a gang in Pokemon games. And I don't even remember what's going on in that storyline. It's really fucking bad. But they have these bases. Yeah, they set up these like bases with fences around them, and I don't really know what they're doing there, but they're delinquents from school, so the director wants you to go rein them in or something. They're like bullying people in the street and stuff like that too. So there's classic Pokemon gangs. So we have these 3 storylines. Did any of these like stick out as something that like really engaged you as you went along?
Honestly, I think that Team Stars, even though I agree that like their storyline was confusing and like bizarre, I actually think that Team Stars events were the most interesting to me. I really liked their vibes and like the each like home base they have kind of has a boss, and the bosses all had like really wacky vibes.
Yeah.
And
it's a Mad Max Fury Road situation where they have you like the boss of the Team Star bases is like you fight a truck.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's a real Pokemon, and it's like it's got it's also got sort of Fast and the Furious vibes too, except they're all like teenagers not going to class. And then the principal, the school director shows up every time, but he's like cosplaying as somebody else and like
he's in a disguise.
Pretending he's not himself. Yeah. The worst disguise ever. So I thought that at least it had a lot of like strong vibes to it, even though it made no sense. So I appreciated every time I approached a new Team Star base, I knew something insane was about to happen and I had no idea what, you know?
Yeah.
That's so true. Yeah, I loved the Team Star battles, and if I'm remembering correctly, those were some of my more difficult battles, and there were a couple that I didn't win right away, and I had to go like switch up my team, train up some more, which is always frustrating for me because I'm very impatient and I just want to get through the Pokemon game, even though yes, I'm having fun, but also like I'm here to win. But I agree with Emily. Definitely, like the vibe is immaculate of Team Star. Like I see why they're bullies and I see why they're cool and sort of respected. Because I'm like, I respect you. Like you're putting on a show here, and the Pokemon, like the bosses, Pokemon, whatever you want to call them, are very exciting. So yeah, I think the Team Star stuff was really fun for me too, and I was intrigued by the Herba Mystica or whatever you call it, like the like what is going on here. That was interesting to me. But yeah, I would say that's pretty much where it stops for me in terms of like being interested in the story.
Yeah, my favorite was the Herba Mystica quest 2 with Arvin, because again, he has this Pokemon that's like it got hurt in a fight and he needs the herbs to kind of nurse it back to health. And so like he brings it out of the Pokeball and it's like it's kind of pathetic. It can like barely move and you're like, "Oh, buddy." And yeah, kind of it taps into this thing where it's like from the very beginning, Pokemon has always talked about like the bond between trainers and Pokemon. But to my knowledge, there hasn't really been a whole lot about like what happens if your Pokemon gets injured or if it gets sick or something like that. And like Pokemon Red and Blue had Lavender Town, like with like all the dead Pokemon, but it's just like a couple lines of NPC dialogue. You had to do a lot of that. In this one, the game is actually like, this is a storyline about a sick and injured Pokemon. And we're going to kind of explore this bond and like, what does this Pokemon mean to this guy? I thought that was interesting, an interesting storyline. They still do it with like kid gloves because it's Pokemon, but it is an interesting thing. Like I can do a little bit more of the work to like make the connection to like, hey, I've had pets my entire life. I know what this story is like, you know?
Yeah.
Emily, you've got your cute dog
right back
on the
here.
bed taking a nap.
I think, well, we should also state that Mabostiff looks like a dog, looks like
it's a dog.
big old family dog. And I'm like, I swear to God, Pokemon Company Game Freak, if you let this dog die, I'm never
not playing
back.
The next one.
I'm never forgiving you. Yeah, it was sweet. I really like Mabostiff, and Arvin grew on me. I think I didn't like his attitude at first.
Yeah, he's a dick at the beginning. And it's you learn why as you go. Like, truthfully, I don't care about any of the characters in Pokemon. Like, they're not real people. They're just not. But Arvin's like the closest one because he has a human storyline that we go through. The other characters like Nimona, who's your other rival, she's like your anime rival. She just wants to fight all the time. Like Pokemon battle, not fist fight. She'd probably fist fight if you asked her, though.
She would. She definitely would.
And maybe kiss. Like, there's some interesting tension there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other storyline is going through the Pokemon League, and then that just like the stories with the gym leaders are kind of like little tiny character beats too. But like Kate said, like they're kind of like a little hit of like a character archetype or a caricature. Like you have the VTuber, the streamer gym leader.
That was triggering. It has become such a trend right now in games to make fun of streamers.
Yeah.
And so when you're streaming the game making fun of streamers, it's a real hit to the ego.
It's like, yeah, fair enough. I get it. But also like there's the whole thing in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, where there's like a VTuber character that's just a fucking pest. Like they're the worst. And so those are becoming a lot more common. There's a part late in the game where they give you a quiz where they're like, who was your favorite gym leader? And I could not remember any of the gym leaders' names.
Yeah.
They are, like I said, they're not real people. Like none of them are even close to approaching what a real person is like. So like you go and talk to them and I could be like, yeah, I think there's a psychic gym. I don't even remember. Like there's the normal type gym leader. I remember him because he's like a mopey businessman. Who's
Is
like,
that Harry? I thought he was a chef. I don't know.
Larry.
Okay, Larry.
He's an office worker, and he like in the gym battle, he's like, I'm on my lunch break. Like my boss I got to get back before my boss finds out. But other than that, like these characters, I don't know, they do nothing for me. And I failed that quiz at the end of the game like 3 times because I couldn't remember any of the gym leaders.
Yes, that was actually, I really struggled with that as well because you're making me recall the quiz, and yeah, they're not memorable. But yeah, I think like the Team Star stuff is way more memorable to me than any of the gym leaders in this game. So
yeah. I think that the reason that it turned out that way for me, and kind of same with the Team Star characters, is because when they set you free to do the treasure hunt, and Ruki agrees with me here, they set you free and your map just has a bunch of different icons of like, here's all of the points to do all of these quests. And like, so there's 8 gym leaders on the map. There's like 5 Urba Mystica locations, and I think there's 5 Team Star bases, and they're all marked from the beginning. And then they're just like, off you go. And so you can do them in whatever order you want, even though some are higher level than others, but still. The fact that it was like this nonlinear thing just did not work for me, like at all. It felt like I just kind of played and played and played and did whatever was close to me. And then the game was over. Like it was time to go into Area 0 at the end, which is awesome. It was a really, really cool thing. But thinking back to the other games, they're all linear. So they have like this set progression from like, this is the next gym, this is the next gym, then you do this, maybe you do this story thing, then there's the other gym, and it makes it into like a defined adventure. And I think you have to do a lot more work to get that feeling in Scarlet and Violet. And I didn't get that. I just kind of like I said, like kind of brain half off played Pokemon. And then I got to the end and they were like, who's your favorite gym leader? I'm like, what? They had names?
Yeah, I feel like the brain half off thing I'm definitely relating to. And I feel like if it wasn't for that spreadsheet, Emily, I don't know if I would have finished the game.
That's
because
true.
that was such a big tool for me. But like this was my cozy game at the time. So like end of the day, I just want to like vroom around. I don't know. I just want to like bop around the world, maybe catch some Pokemon if I feel like it. And I feel like I just was kind of there. And I really love like how linear things are, even in like games like Shield, but also Let's Go Pikachu. Like that one is my favorite just because I'm like, I know exactly what happens next and I know exactly where to go next. And I know I'm going to see this gym leader next. So I got to start getting these Pokemon ready in my party. So yeah, I think for me, that's a big part of Pokemon games is just anticipating the next gym leader and getting excited for that and sort of knowing what to expect. So yeah, this was definitely in a different headspace than I had been for any other Pokemon game I've played, I would say.
Same. I think having the spreadsheet and basically treating it like a normal linear Pokemon game really helped. I don't think that they tried very hard to actually make all of the gyms approachable or like to truly make it a non-linear story. I think it's just secretly a linear story.
Yeah, they definitely like, if you try to go certain places, you'd be like, oh, everything's 30 levels higher than me. I can't survive here. Or like maybe you can avoid all the Pokemon, but the gym leader is going to stomp you. So it's not like truly non-linear, but you do have like you have a pretty wide area of possibility. There's definitely not a set order that you should do things.
Yeah. And then I think when you're exploring too, you definitely encounter similarly like different areas that because Miraidon some of the new Pokemon names are very hard for me to say in not a Spanish
Say it.
accent.
Say it.
So
Okay.
I
I
always
knew.
want to call it Miraidon because that's
Yeah,
anyway.
that's fair.
If you don't have certain abilities unlocked, you can't really access certain areas, but
Hmm.
it's not super well signposted. So
Mm.
sometimes
Mhm.
and the I don't know, I guess we'll call it platforming isn't very smooth. And so there were plenty of moments where I was questioning, should I be able to access this area? Is this because I haven't unlocked a thing yet,
Hmm.
or am I just not jumping at quite the right angle in the right spot to do this?
Yeah. I think that like I definitely kind of sequence broke a couple times by like figuring out a way to get up onto a ledge that I don't think they wanted me to be up there yet. And then you get up there and it's like, oh, this is I'm level 30, this is level 60. And so like,
Mm.
okay, I'll turn around. I'll go back.
Yeah.
Um but it's just another example. Like I think that we have generally like become okay with like games not being open world again. Like there was definitely a phase where being a linear experience was a bad thing, and we wanted big open worlds. And now I think that that's swinging back to the other side where it's like, no, tight linear experiences are cool. If you do an open world, make sure that it's worth having the open world. And non-linearity is another one of those where people are like, oh, it's non-linear? Ooh, that sounds cool. But it's like, it doesn't always make the game better to be nonlinear. I think that this game is not better for being this way. It just kind of just coalesces into a blob of Pokemon activities that I did, and then I got to the Elite Four.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
also It also doesn't help the storytelling, in my opinion. Like I said, there's a story that I thought was interesting, the story with Mabostiff and Arvin, and because it's a non-linear thing, I could do like 3 of those in a row and then not do another one for 30 hours. Like if I did all of them that are available to me, and then the next one is just way too high level to do, so I can't do it. And so with that much space in between story beats, I'm just like straight up not going to remember everything that's been going on. Maybe there's like a thing that Arvin was talking about with his family that becomes very important later in the game. But if I had so much time in between those, it's really hard to stay connected to it. And
Mm.
like the Team Star storyline is like I think it's pretty bad in general, but it's also like, again, if I have 20 hours in between Team Star bases, I'm not going to remember what they talked about last time. So it's another way that like nonlinearity is not necessarily good just by nature. You have to make it work. And the reason I bring this up with relation to the story is everyone always talks about the end of this story. When people say, I've heard so many people say, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet has such a good story. And I think what they mean is the last hour of the story is very good. It's cool. They bring all 3 of these storylines together. They have interesting ideas. They explore some stuff. But it's the last hour of a 40-hour main game that I played. And
Mm.
all of the other stuff, like I said, is kind of just this blob beforehand because I just kind of did it in whatever order it came up to me. So like I heard people be like, yeah, the ending of Pokemon Violet like really resonated with me emotionally. And I like, not even close for me. Like I'm glad that people got that, but because of this thing I've been talking about, I didn't get that. It made me
Mm.
wonder 2 things. So I'll ask you both 2 questions. Number 1, did you enjoy the end? Like without spoilers, did you enjoy it? Did it live up to the hype? If there was hype back when you played it, there was certainly hype when I played it. And then number 2, do you think we grade Pokemon stories on a curve?
Mm.
Just talked about this with Zelda in one of my most recent episodes where people are like, the story's good. And I'm like, is it good or is it good for Zelda?
Mm.
I mean, I have my answer locked in immediately for both
Yeah,
of
let's go.
those. I did not find the end of Violet particularly impactful.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised, and I don't think there was a lot of hype specifically around this that I knew of back when I played this. So I was not aware of kind of the community's reception to it. I thought it was interesting, probably more interesting than most Pokemon storylines and endings. And to lead into the second question, I absolutely think that we grade Pokemon's narratives on a curve. I have no expectations going into a Pokemon game for its narrative. That's not why I'm playing the game. At worst, it doesn't matter at all to me. At best, it's cute, probably. So I think that the one storyline that I actually remember from a past game that I found really interesting and impactful was Ruby and Sapphire, because it had these interesting tie-ins to like eco-terrorism essentially, and like climate change. And I found that really interesting, and it brought up some interesting moral dilemmas. And I actually remember it, which is shocking relative to like every other storyline. So yeah, I definitely think that this gets its own sort of category and grading for just Pokemon games.
Yeah, I resonate with a lot of that. I feel like, I'm not going in with any expectations either. I just love Pokemon and I want to catch them and they're cute. I think I was really distracted in this game too because it was open world. So I was like, oh, I could do so many different things than I can in a traditional Pokemon game. I don't actually remember any stories from any Pokemon game that I've played, to be quite honest. What was the first question? One more time.
Did you like the ending?
Oh, the ending. Well, I think it was fine. I wasn't really on the edge of my seat. I wouldn't really say that it was bad, but I also wouldn't say that it was good. And I think that when I played the ending, I was just really eager to get to it. And I wasn't really there for the journey anymore. I was like, sometimes in Pokemon, I'm like, okay, they could have just said it was over now, but then I have to do 10 more battles. And I just kind of get tired of that after a while. So, and again, it's hard when you're playing a game like with a deadline and you're like, I want to finish it before said podcast recording, which is something that I want to consider all the time when I'm playing games. But yeah, with Pokemon, I'm sort of exhausted at a point where I'm like, okay, let's just have this really be the last battle, guys. Like, I've played for 70 hours. Like, let's call it a day. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. But the ending, I do love to be on the edge of my seat in a game. And I'm also very easily emotionally in tune with things, I'll say. But no such or I wasn't really feeling that with the ending here. So I guess it's okay. I haven't heard a ton of people say great things about it, but I haven't really looked into people's thoughts on the ending. So it's interesting to me that it's so praised, I guess, because I'm not really there.
Yeah, the story was just kind of like a jumble for most of the game, and then the end when it all comes together, I think that like they're relying on you having been connected the entire time, and I wasn't. But the end, like the last area that you go to is really good, solves a lot of the complaints that I had about like the open world stuff. And then the story is like interesting, but I kind of think it's interesting on the Pokemon curve in the way that like the story in Gold and Silver about Team Rocket cutting off Slowpoke tails is interesting, and like you can think about the impact of something like that in the world of Pokemon. But yeah, I just think because I was not always in on the story, it's really just like the last hour, and that doesn't make the story good. It just means that like they had some ideas at the end. Like in order for me to say that the story was really good and really impactful, it had to have like done it for more than just the last hour of a 35-hour, 40-hour game. So yeah, that's it. And then you go into the DLC. Did you play the DLCs?
I was just gonna say I played the first DLC, but not after to be continued. I was like, no, it will not be continued for me.
Same. I played the Teal Mask, and that's
what it's called. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Em.
So I played both of them. So you both at least met the characters Carmine and Kieran, who are like the main characters of the two DLCs. It's a continuing storyline. The teal mask kind of centers around like a local myth and like folklore and stuff like that. It's like kind of cute within the Pokemon setting. The storyline with Carmine and Kieran that covers both games is legitimately one of the worst stories I think I've ever experienced. And you played the teal mask, so you got like the first half of like what happens with those characters. And it's like nobody acts like a person at all. They're just fucking assholes for no reason to one of the characters. And then it's like that character turns into the Joker, and it's like, why did everyone like lie to this person? Why was I forced to lie to this character? Like, it's so bad. And so like we come right off the end of like, oh, the end of the base game was cool, and like they have some cool story ideas. It's like, finally, Pokemon telling stories. And you get to the DLC and it's like the worst story you've ever experienced. You're like, okay, maybe the end of the base game was like a blip, an outlier. Yeah, it's real bad. I'll talk specifics just like briefly in the spoiler section, but it's awful what happens in that storyline.
There was potential too, I thought, at the beginning of the DLC. Like, I was like, I'm invested in both of these characters' journeys. And then it all kind of just fell apart for me emotionally with the characters. So I don't know. I guess I'm wondering, is it good that we didn't do the other DLC?
Well, so like the second DLC is much more battle focused than the first one. You go in, it's like all double battles. It's the hardest fights in the whole game. And I thought it was like, it's fun from a gameplay perspective, but it does continue the storyline. And every time you go into a story scene and characters start talking, you're like, oh my God, why are you like this? Like, it's just not good. But if you're in it for the gameplay, it's very good. The second DLC is great.
Heard.
Nemona in the base game was one of the most annoying characters that I can remember in any Pokemon game, and they managed to actually one-up themselves with Carmine in the DLC.
Yeah, they're just not great with these like rival characters. I remember in what was his name, Hop in Sword and Shield, who's like your rival.
Yeah.
Again, like not a great character. Not happy whenever they showed up on screen.
Normalize naming your rivals. Honestly, like, isn't there's a Pokemon game where you can name your rival? I think Let's Go
from the
Pikachu,
beginning,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, all of them. My bad.
Yeah, from the beginning you can.
Yeah,
you name your rival Assface in Red and Blue.
I love when they do that, because then I'm motivated to defeat Gluten, or whatever I named the enemy. Give me motivation.
Yes, exactly.
Name all of the enemies. Be able to name all the enemies. Like, I'm gonna get redacted. I almost said his name. One of my coworkers. Yeah, I feel like just give me the option to name every single enemy that I will encounter in Pokemon, and I will be motivated.
Name all the trainers. Yeah. I was thinking about this too. Like, I always think about this with Zelda games. Zelda NPCs are they're all freaks. Like, especially in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they're all freaks. And they just get like the weirdest voice actors to come in and do the weirdest like gibberish or like the weirdest laughs or, grunts or whatever. And Pokemon 2 really starts with the fashion in Pokemon, I think. Everyone in Pokemon has the most insane outfit you've ever seen, the most insane haircut you've ever seen. And they're all, like I said, they're not real people. They have like one trait. Larry is a depressed businessman. That's his entire character. There's the streamer. They're doing it for content, baby. That's their character. But yeah, they're all so weird. So weird.
That's a good point.
You meet the director and you see what the director looks like, and you're like, you're the director of this school? Like, how do the parents feel about this? No. Let's talk about the way it looks. So I played on Switch 2. So I can speak to the Switch 2 version. It runs perfectly well now. No crashes. It runs very, very smoothly. Runs like a real video game. I think the game looks terrible, especially the outside areas. The Pokemon designs are cool because, I mean, I think that's like one of the secret best things about Pokemon, like that keeps it more memorable than other creature collector games is like, it might just be like almost 30 years now of conditioning, but Pokemon just look cooler than Digimon, and they look cooler than Pokemon, like creatures from other monster collecting games. Yeah, so they look cool. But when you're out in the open area, this looks like a GameCube game. And that's like being kind of nice sometimes. Like I look at a cliffside and I'm like, that looks like the Super Mario 64 first level right there. Like this is one of those things where it's like they fixed the game up. But I think the more you bump the resolution on these games, the worse they look.
Interesting.
Yeah, I agree. It's really sad to see. I like such a sparsely populated open world game. I think especially in the cities, the cities felt like just the opposite of lived in.
Oh, there's
They
no life
felt
in the
yeah.
cities
there's
at
no
all.
life. They feel like you're walking around Disneyland, and it doesn't help that they didn't build any interiors of shops or I I think your home you can go inside and the school you can go inside. But
Right.
there are very like you can't go in any shop ever. So I think it just really makes it feel like you're in kind of a cardboard cutout of a world. I will say I thought that the DLC looked a lot better. And I
I
think it
agree.
probably has to do with the fact that it's a smaller map that you're in, and they took a lot longer probably to make a much shorter experience. But yeah, I agree. And just launching with so many like insane glitches and moments where you like wind up, glitching through like the ground and then you fall into the negative space of the world and have to restart. It was just disappointing. I'm glad they fixed it now, but it's just very, very surprising to me.
I wonder, like, if you can think back to when you first played it. Like, I wonder if the game having such, like, frame rate problems, slowdowns, bugs, and crashes, like, made you notice less that, like I said, like, that rock wall looks like it's from Super Mario 64, than if you would if it's running at a perfect 60 frames per second now, and you have all the attention span to just look at a waterfall or something, and you're like, it looks so bad. Like, it doesn't look like a modern high budget video game at all.
No, we were saying that then too, and it made it even sadder because it was like, this game looks like shit. Why is it also performing
Okay,
like
yeah, fair enough.
shit?
Yeah.
I don't,
You look at like Breath of the Wild, like a giant
Yeah.
game, and it's like it looks so much better than these games. And they probably had a lot more time to work on it to be fair, but like that's really not my problem as the person buying the game, you know?
Yeah. I wish they could have consulted with the Breath. I know that like the Nintendo and Pokemon Company teams are very separate, but it would have been really neat if they could have consulted with each other, because I think it could have looked a lot better, probably. Obviously the Switch can handle a game like that.
Yeah.
But also I agree with your assessment of the Pokemon designs. I think that this generation in particular did a really great job of bringing back some really fun and like Pokemon-esque designs. I didn't see as many things where it was like, oh, it's a trash bag, it's an ice cream cone, it's like a fan, it's a washing machine.
Yeah. Everyone jumps to the trash bag. Poor Trubbish. I mean, it's a terrible idea for a Pokemon, but like,
great name
poor
though for a
Trubbish
trash
just gets
bag.
shit on all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, Kate, what'd you think?
I don't know, like, I guess, and I don't know if this is quite a visual complaint, but it feels like that's what I'm trying to say. I think overall encountering the Pokemon that are just in the open world to like catch or whatever is very like uninspiring to me. Like I feel
Yes.
so when I see a Pokemon in even like Legends Arceus, which I didn't end up finishing, like encountering a Pokemon in that game feels incredible. For me anyway, if I'm remembering correctly. And like in all the other Switch Pokemon games that I've played, I just get so excited. That's one of my favorite parts. And I just felt whenever I encountered a Pokemon in this game, like it just feels like the colors and the outlines are just like not really striking, and I'm kind of bored, and I'm like, oh my god, it takes so long for me to figure out if I'm gonna catch this Pokemon or battle it or run away. Like just the process of doing that over and over again got really annoying to me, to the
Mm.
point where I'm like, I cannot run into another tiny little Pokemon and
Oh
remain
my
calm.
God. Yeah.
So I think like visually, like that could have been a lot better, or at least like been more exciting to visually approach a Pokemon in this beautiful open world, maybe beautiful open world. Um, I think I would agree with Emily about like, because I played the DLC most recently, and I think that there were some improvements there, and I did find myself being really excited to just explore the geographical world of the DLC. And like I came upon the crystal, is it called Crystal Lake at the top of the mountain?
Mm.
I came upon that on accident before I was supposed to go there, and I was like, wow, this is really beautiful. So I think there are some things in the environment that are really pretty, and like the rolling hills, and I think it looks nice, and it's fun to like fly around in an open world. But again, like I've never played an open world game, and so I think like I'm not really used to really crisp visuals in this style anyway. So I don't know. I didn't have like a ton of complaints, but I just felt like it wasn't the Pokemon encounters were my least inspired part. But then Emily, when you bring up like it kind of having that cardboard box feeling, or like this is a movie set feeling when you're in the towns, I didn't really think about that, but that's definitely true. I feel like
Hmm.
the cities were very uninspired. You could have done a lot with that because of like, the Spanish inspiration and the fun vibes. Like sometimes they just felt like hollow and empty, even with the amount of people that were around. So yeah, I guess visually, I don't usually have a ton of notes, but you guys are reminding me of things that I would definitely agree with. So I guess those are my thoughts overall.
I want to piggyback on that to talk about the open world since we're on the topic. And this is one of my biggest like things that I think is like pretty bad in this game is you mentioned walking through an area and seeing all the Pokemon, trying not to trip over the little ones to get into battles all the time. The world, like the towns are boring to be in. Nobody feels like they live there. They're just kind of out on the sidewalk. And then the outside doesn't feel at all like an environment. It feels like a mountainside with a group of Pokemon copied and pasted
Yeah.
in perpetuity. Like you'll walk outside and you'll see these repeating patterns of like one of the big Pokemon, like middle evolutions surrounded by 5 of the small evolutions.
Mm.
And I have a bunch of screenshots from the game. You look through them and you're like, every screenshot has like on Switch 2, I don't know if it's the same on Switch 1. Every screenshot has like 30 wild Pokemon in it. Like they're everywhere. It feels like a buffet more than an environment. Like you should be excited to go into a forest or an icy mountain or something, but it's just there's Pokemon everywhere and there's items to pick up everywhere. And it just feels like it's not like I don't want to go battle them because like that's what I'm here for. I'm playing Pokemon. I'm here to battle them. But it's like you go outside and like you just see the artifice of it like way too much. It's one of those things that I think there's that many Pokemon and you trip over the little ones to kind of give you the feeling of the old games where like you're never like truly safe because it's random battles in the old games. And battles happen at like a similar rate to those. But having them be random battles actually lets you have an imagination a little bit about like, I'm in this cave and, oh, I got in a random battle, like a bat swooped down from the ceiling or like a Geodude jumped out from behind a rock or whatever. And in this game, you go in a cave and it's just like, there's this cave hallway and there's 45 wild Pokemon just sitting there.
Just sitting there.
And you're like, I'm on the Miraidon like motorcycle. I'm going to have to weave through them or jump over them to not get in 30 battles in this thing. It just feels really, really uninspired and it sucks. Like it's one of the things that you're like, oh, open world Pokemon, cool. And then you see what open world Pokemon actually became. And you're like, I like it better the way it used to be. Like, and this, I try really hard to not have this be like a old man yells at cloud thing, but like, I like give like a sigh every time I got to a new area. And I'm like, yeah, look at all of them. Kate, real quick, one more thing. Kate, you mentioned the lake, like you like climb a mountain and you get to like the lake in the caldera, and it's like it's a cool thing. Like I've been on top of mountains that had lakes on the mountaintop. It's like it's a magical place, and you climb up there and you're like, I'm exploring. I bet there's going to be something cool in that lake. And then you get down there. There's nothing interesting in that lake. There's no unique Pokemon. There's no legendary Pokemon in there. It's the same ones that are on the side of the mountain. And so it's like, why? What's the point of going into that lake thing? What's the point of exploring in this game? There's nothing interesting to find. There's no legendary Pokemon until like the end of the last DLC. Suddenly they're like, all right, legendary Pokemon are out now, you can go catch them. So it's like, if I see a cave, like there might be like oh, Houndoom is in the cave, cool, I can catch Houndoom now. But like, I could catch Houndour in other places. I don't need it's not interesting. This is a big long rant, but like, this is the thing that like, they're like, this is open world Pokemon. You can go explore the best open world games, tickle your curiosity, and then they reward you for being curious when you go somewhere. And these games do not in the slightest reward you. You don't even find new Pokemon half the time. It's my biggest disappointment with the games. I think this is terrible.
Yeah, and they do have, I don't want to say it because I guess it's technically a spoiler, but there is one cool moment, I feel like, when you come upon the Crystal Lake. Sorry, I can't remember what anything is called. I don't actually know what it's called. But yeah, and I think like going into these, I also just like hate when games have caves and I can't see shit. Like it just really, really annoys me. Like I cannot see anything, but yet I am encountering a little Pokemon every 2 steps. Like I am about to pull my hair out. But yeah, I don't know. I think like I just don't have that much to compare it to in terms of other open world games, right? But I do have other Pokemon games on the Switch to compare it to. So I feel like, I don't know. I think this is like a super fair argument, but I guess I just feel like I wish that the Pokemon that you come upon in this game just like looked better and there were less of them. And I agree with what you said about things just kind of feeling like not very thoughtfully placed, like both Pokemon, but also items that are in the world. Like it feels like there's too many of them, and like
They're
coming
everywhere.
upon them is not exciting. It's actually the opposite. It's really annoying. So I guess I feel passionately about some of these points as well. But I guess, yeah, I don't know. I think open world games in general, like I guess I am more curious to check out more of them after playing this, which I think is a positive for me, just like on the visuals and the experience of an open world, because I honestly almost booted up Breath of the Wild the other night because my partner has it and he played through it, and I was like, I kind of want to play that after playing the Pokemon DLC. So I guess that's a silver lining for me. So yeah, I just went to a lot of places, but that's my response to your soliloquy about the Pokemon.
For sure. Like Breath of the Wild is a good comparison because that is an open world that is like, it's not full of like the best treasure you've ever found in video games, but like Breath of the Wild is always just making you curious about like, what if I climb that mountain? What is it? And like, you might find a couple little like items or something like that, but like, it's always your curiosity is being piqued in games like that. And I feel like the best open world games are either open world because it's really fun to move around them, like a Spider-Man game or something like that, or they're open world because it's fun to explore, like in Elden Ring, for example. And this is just neither. It's just open. You can go anywhere you want, but you're not rewarded for ever being curious about, like I said, like what's in that lake at the top of the mountain. I bet there's a cool Pokemon there, and it's not. There's nothing different in there at all. There's no cool items. It's just the same Pokemon that were at the bottom of the mountain.
So I have a lot of thoughts on this. I'll
Let's
play
go.
devil's advocate on a couple things because I do think that both of you are right about the distribution, like density of Pokemon. I was not as bothered by this in general. I actually really loved seeing, like, from the nostalgia of it, and because this is a world that I love so much, my dream is to walk out my door and I'm in a field and I just see 100 different Pokemon. Like, that's what I want in my life. So from that perspective, I really enjoy the experience. And I found myself like, I finished the DLC and I was like, okay, check that off my list. And then I found myself continuing to play and just kind of zoom around and see what I found, like flocks of Pokemon that show up, and those that like increases your likelihood of finding them. I do agree that there were too many Pokemon generally. It was too densely populated. However, I think that it's a tricky thing to figure out, like, how do you make a fantasy world feel populated enough but not so much that you're overwhelmed with Pokemon. And I think that of the two, between erring on the side of having too many available to you or too few, I do think in this case too many is the right side to accidentally lean too far on. If it felt too sparse, I think people would find it even less playable. Right. Especially considering how poorly the game performed and how bad it looked. If it looked bad and also you couldn't really find many Pokemon, that would be a really bad time.
Yeah.
So I do agree it was too many, but I think that of the two options, if they were gonna get it wrong, they got it wrong on the correct side of the line, right?
Yeah. I think like if the environments looked better, they could get away with having less Pokemon. But if there was half the amount of Pokemon that are there, it would look barren. Like it would be nothing there.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I also think that they really shot themselves in the foot ages ago unknowingly by kind of canonizing how large every Pokemon is, publishing like these Pokedexes and things that say like, this is how big it is, because the audience, the community is very passionate about, and like to a degree, these are like real creatures. There's a little fun fact. I'll go on a quick deviation here. There was a team of Stanford psychologists who did a brain scan research study into Pokemon players, like who've played Pokemon their whole lives. And so when you're scanning people's brains and showing them images, there are different like parts that light up, right? There's like a part if you look at a loved one. There's a specific part of your brain that lights up if you're looking at something fake or fictional. And then there's another specific part of your brain that lights up if you're looking at a real animal. Like human brains are really like attuned to like human faces and animals. So there's like an animal part. Well, they showed Pokemon pictures to longtime players of the games, and the real animal part of their brain lit up. So to many people, like there's a much more real world connection, I think, to these games. They feel like a real place. So I think for me, like playing these games is almost more like I'm getting this little portal into a real world I can never visit, but I can in here, you know?
That's so real.
All that to say, like, I get why they felt the need to be really accurate with Pokemon sizes, even though I don't think they should have been. I don't think that any of the Pokemon in this game should be as small as some of them are. And I get why they like erred on the side of caution that they did with the distribution of Pokemon. So I agree with both of you, but those are my devil's advocate cases. I also think that they missed out on a huge opportunity to do something like the legendary dogs in Gold and Silver, where there are legendary Pokemon just roaming around and you don't know where they're going to be, and you can sort of chase it. That would be so cool.
Yeah. Again, Breath of the Wild has these dragons that fly around, and sometimes you'll just be doing stuff and you'll see one of them right above you in the sky. It's cool. It's one of the things that makes this game suck to explore is there's no legendary Pokemon to find. It's just like I said, like you follow your curiosity and it's like, all right, there's more Psyduck here. Like, all right. I mean, I like Psyduck, but I already have 3 of them. So what am I doing here?
I feel like I'm like really glad you shared that, Emily, because I wasn't familiar with that study, but I just feel like that's so true, and that's what will make me play literally every Pokemon game that comes to the Switch, because I'm just like, I love them so much. Like, I don't care if the game's bad. I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see the Pokemon. And even now that I've seen way too many after playing the DLC and I'm sick of them, I'm not gonna give up on them. Like, I'm excited for whatever Pokemon game comes to the Switch. I will definitely play. But it's true. I do feel like for a lot of us that have just always some of us have like been with these creatures for our whole lives, or Pokemon. So that makes a lot of sense to me, and I definitely feel very emotionally attached to a lot of Pokemon. So
Yeah.
I like that you shared that.
There's a very consistent like design style to Pokemon that makes like the new Pokemon in this game. There's always some that I'm like, that's a bad design. I think that sucks. But like a lot of them are cool, and they all feel like Pokemon. And so like it might be, like you said, that kind of association that we unconsciously make if we've been longtime fans, where we think like that part of our brain that recognizes real animals, like you said, associates Pokemon with that too. That might be another reason why I thought the open world was really uninspired, because if I am associating these as real animals, there's zero sense of ecology in this game beyond water Pokemon are in the river and, you know, rock Pokemon are in the cave. But other than that, there's nothing going on as far as like, it doesn't feel like Pokemon are in like cool or unique places based on like how they live. It's just like, oh, you're out in a field and here are the 7 Pokemon we chose to put in this zone. I will say everything that I just said is so much better in the last area of the game, where it's like, it's a cool landscape and you walk down and it looks like a level from Xenoblade Chronicles. Like it's really cool looking. And you go through this thing and it's like the Pokemon are more powerful. There's like, we'll talk about it in the spoiler section. There's like a story thing going on in this place. It's a special place. And as you go deeper in it, the Pokemon you see start to change alongside how like the environment changes, and like this gets more connected to the story, and it's like really thoughtfully done. It's really good to walk down and be like, wow, there's these different Pokemon are here, and I know why that change happened. I know why there's more of these here. And I really felt like they put all their best into the ending, and then the stuff in the middle, not like they didn't try, of course that's a stupid thing to say, but it's like it feels so much more thoughtfully done in that one area at the end. So it's like really cool, and I'm like, okay, they can do it. Okay, well, in the world, you are catching and battling Pokemon, so let's talk about that. We don't have to talk about how to catch Pokemon or like what the battling is like. It's turn-based combat, although they do have a new thing in the game where you can throw your Pokemon out. Just today, I saw a rumor that Nintendo patented this, which sucks. Stop patenting game mechanics. But there is a mechanic where you can throw your Pokemon out on the field. They'll like walk near you, and then if a wild Pokemon's nearby, they'll go do a really quick fight without going into the combat screen. And it's just like, you know, basic stats, you know, who's more likely to win and take how much damage. And it's over in like 5 seconds. That's what the Team Star bases are. The Team Star bases are way too easy for this to be like interesting. For me, they're like, you have 20 minutes to do this. And I'm like, it took me 3 minutes to clear this area out. It's really not a thing. But that new thing is really helpful for grinding, which is if you catch a new Pokemon, it's always been a thing throughout the series. They have the experience share in this game, but like that is not as good as just throwing that Pokemon out and letting them do these quick little things. Did you guys use this?
I think that I did use it like when I was playing the game. Like not recently, I didn't use it. Not while playing the DLC. I didn't ever like put my Pokemon outside of the Pokeball to catch other Pokemon or hang out with me. Mostly
Hmm.
just because I just find that a little bit distracting if I'm trying to like I guess really be in it. But I do remember when you have to do that during the Team Star encounters. Like I did find that really fun. So I don't know. I think it's a cool idea, and sometimes because I had my Fuecoco. I will always call him Fuecoco. He was the biggest evolution, but I had Fuecoco as like the first Pokemon in my party, but then I had Sylveon as my second. So sometimes it was fun to like have Sylveon out there with me. It just was like a cool vibe visually, I think sometimes. But beyond that, like aesthetic, I don't think I used it that often. So
Yeah, I actually forgot that that was a thing during the DLC because it's been whatever, like 2 years since I played it last. I didn't use it a ton. I mean, it is nice for grinding, although I didn't feel it. I don't know. I played the game for 115 hours, so I guess I didn't feel the need to grind, but I was. I just wasn't thinking of it that way. I wasn't like
Right.
trying to optimize my grinding. I think I didn't use it a lot partly because I was worried, and maybe they have a solution to this, but I was worried about it like defeating a shiny. I'd
mm,
spent
Mm.
a little bit of time shiny hunting back when I played this the first time around. And I don't know if they might actually prevent you from auto battling any shinies, but
mm.
I was paranoid about that.
That would be nice of them to stop you from, auto battling and killing a shiny. That would
Yeah.
be good.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's probably a lot of Pokemon fans like worst nightmare.
Yeah.
Is like defeating a shiny in general, but doing it like outside of the battle screen would feel really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I used this Pokemon. I just had to look it up. It's called Dreepy. It is a kind of like a ghost dragon Pokemon, like a little
Mm.
ghost lizard guy. He evolves into a Pokemon that looks like a stealth bomber, which is very odd. But
Oh, he's
this
cute.
Pokemon is super cute. The weakest possible
Mm.
Pokemon. It has like, I didn't do like the Bulbapedia like base stats comparison, but this thing like just couldn't hang in a fight ever. And he doesn't evolve until like level 50. It was a big process to get this thing evolved. So I used that outside of the Pokemon battling to do like really quick grinding. And it was pretty helpful because you know how like in the old Pokemon games, you catch a Magikarp and you'd have to like throw it out there first in the battle, then switch it out so it gets experience points. I had to do this thing for like 20 hours with this fucking Pokemon
Oh god.
because it could not fight anything. It was so weak. But the evolved form I thought was going to be good, and I was correct. It was worth doing it. But instead of doing that whole maneuver all the time, this like throw the Pokemon out, let them auto battle was really helpful for grinding. So
Mm.
I did take advantage of that.
I did it on accident a bunch because I'm like, where's the map? Where's this? Like,
Yeah.
couldn't find
Yeah.
anything. So, yeah.
Yeah. I did get tripped up by the buttons often. The battling itself, a lot of Pokemon fans are craving a challenge these days, especially, people like us who are 30 or 40 years old and have been playing for a long time. Did you feel like you got a decent challenge from Scarlet and Violet?
I feel like I definitely did. Like, yeah, so I've played the only Pokemon games I've played besides Snap on the N64 are the ones that have come to Switch. And I feel like this was one where I definitely had to do the most, like, I guess be thoughtful about my party and be thoughtful about their move sets and getting them up to a high level to,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, defeat a lot of these like later gym leaders and like Team Star. But I feel like once I had them to where I needed them to be, I just like the DLC was a breeze. Like the first half of the teal mask disc. So yeah, I think it was challenging, and I think I put some good hours into training up. But yeah, never to the point where I was like, oh, I want to give up, or I just like I'm annoyed and I want to stop. So yeah,
Mm.
but I think when I would encounter Pokemon, like in that sense, um, there were a couple times where I just could not like I would get the Pokemon to its lowest health point, And if I would do another attack, like I would certainly like it would faint and I wouldn't be able to catch it. But then I couldn't catch it either.
Right.
So I found that balance to be really difficult for me because I was like, I'm either gonna kill it or I'm like gonna have to try really hard to not kill it and then catch it. And I guess I could send out a weaker Pokemon from my party to maybe attack it, but like I just want to go. Like I'm not trying to think about it that deeply. If I really want to catch a Pokemon, I don't want it to take me that long. So that was one of
Mm.
the struggles I had was like figuring out what is the balance and which Pokemon do I use to actually catch these Pokemon. Cause I'll just say, like, I did not care about catching Pokemon in this game. And I did not like my Pokedex is pretty shameful in this game. So compared to what I would do in other Pokemon games. So I guess I just
Uh-huh.
found for the first time this process quite frustrating.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I played the game so slowly because I would take time to explore and do a little shiny hunting in between uh gym battles and kind of key story points. And because I always use guides, I always kind of built my party around whatever my next encounter was going to be. So I didn't find
Mm.
it super challenging. I think maybe relative to Sword, it was more challenging, but it wasn't like a, super notable difference to me.
Fair. Yeah, I mean it wasn't a super challenge, especially during like the main game leading up to the Elite Four. Some of the gym leaders were like a good challenge. The team star bosses were a legit challenge, especially like if
Mm.
you're again, because of the non-linearity, you kind of have to be in like a level range for it to be a good challenge. If you're too low, it's going to be too hard. And then you can definitely like come back to some gym leaders. You're just like way too strong for them. Like that happened with a couple of them. But I did enjoy the challenge. And Pokemon gets a lot of crap for being rock, paper, scissors, basically. And like, if you have the type advantage, you win. And I didn't feel like, again, if I was at the right level range, I didn't feel like just having the type advantage would be the only reason why you would win. A lot of the new Pokemon have interesting like dual types, and I found that a lot of the gym leader Pokemon, Elite Four, and then especially in like the second DLC, that's all double battles, and everyone's really high level. A lot of Pokemon would have like moves that you wouldn't expect them to have that would be there to cover for weaknesses. And so it made the battles a bigger challenge and a better challenge. And also because they're double battles, you would have Pokemon who had like synergies between the two of them that are out there at the same time. Like this one's going to be like power up and then use Earthquake a ton, and the other one's a flying type, so it's not going to get hit by Earthquake. And they have like synergies that work really well, and they're legitimately good challenges. And that's what I'm looking for. I don't mind that the early gym leaders are cakewalks. That doesn't bother me at all. This is Pokemon after all. But I did think that like I got a pretty decent challenge.
Mm.
I'm not here to do PvP in Pokemon ever. That scene from like when I tried it like 15 years ago was like way too sweaty for me. But like just casually team building and like being mindful about what moves your Pokemon know, trying to cover for your own weaknesses and stuff. The enemies, the opponents will do that too. And I thought that was really good. So
Mm.
I felt fulfilled as far as like a challenge goes.
That's a good point. I forgot Revavroom is the car Pokemon that
Yeah.
Team Star has, and the Steel Poison combo was a good combo.
Mm.
And you're
Yeah.
right, like it always had some moves that I wasn't quite anticipating. So I do like that. I like how they're thinking through the Pokemon design from that standpoint more, and kind of bringing out more interesting dual types and stuff. So, and same goes for team building. Like I think that there are some really interesting
Mm.
options for
Mm.
building just a lot of really cool viable team combos, which
Mm.
is neat. And I think the thing that I like the most about the combat system is thinking through what my team composition is going to be.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I've never cared about that, like about my team and them having good moves. And I feel like this game actually did make me a better Pokemon player because I think like when I played Shield, I just like beefed up my grass starter. I don't remember his name, and just like sent him out every single time for every battle, and he was able to dominate and it was fine. But I feel like this time I had to be really intentional about my party, and I kind of enjoyed that process for the first time of like being given the opportunity to have that challenge and figure out, okay, what's my most like dynamic Pokemon party gonna be? And now that I've done it, I would honestly like to do that more in future Pokemon games. So I think
Yeah.
that's something cool.
I think one of the cool things about Pokemon, like this is part of the reason why some people say there's not enough challenge in a lot of the games, but like one of the cool things has always been if you think a Pokemon is cool, it's probably good enough to hang if you, teach it some good moves and you have it fight other things so it gets the stat boosts and stuff like that. But like if you think that Psyduck and Golduck are cool, you're not going to be able to beat the game because like Golduck's not good enough or something like that. Like you can do that. And I think that this game still does that. I changed my party up a lot. I was constantly catching new Pokemon and trading them into my party, either to cover for like, I went a lot of the game where I was like, I really need an electric type. I went a lot of the game without a water type for some reason. And then I was like, I needed to get those covered. So I used a lot of the new Pokemon, but I also took the time to use some of the old ones that I'd never used before. Like I used Quagsire, who was like a big MVP level Pokemon in the second DLC when it's like really tough battles. Quagsire was a dog in those fights. Like it was really good. And I just never used it. And I just think it's cool that like you can find a Pokemon and be like, they look cool, or I like the type combination. And you can put them in your party and they will probably be good enough. And
totally.
Like that's not always the case in RPGs. Like if you think of Pokemon as like RPG classes, there's definitely RPG classes in like, say a Final Fantasy game or something like that. They're just like not very good. And you have to work a lot harder to overcome how bad they suck. Or like some, RPGs that have characters, right? You'll pick up a character and you're like, this guy sucks. He's like really bad in combat. I'm going to put him on the bench and use other people. And like not every Pokemon's created equal, but I just think it's cool that I can go into the first DLC, find a new Pokemon I've never seen before and be like, I'm putting them in my party and they're going to be good. I can use them.
It's just something that's really special about Pokemon. Like that you can sort of like bond with them. And like you said, choose whatever one that like you like their vibe, you like something, you like their design, and it's going to work out okay. You can figure out a team that will like work around them.
Speaking of the bond, did you two ever bench your starter or replace your starter? I always feel like that's a big bridge to cross in a Pokemon game, to not carry my starter to the end of the game.
I always keep my starter in the first position.
Yeah, it feels wrong. It feels wrong to not have them in your party.
So Skeledirge is the name of the Fuecoco evolution.
Skeledirge is crazy. That's a wild name.
Right?
Yeah, it is a crazy name. I beat the Elite Four with it, and then it went on the bench.
Whoa.
When I went into the DLC, because I started to just play around with new Pokemon. And honestly, I think the design's really bad. Like they really did him dirty. I want to say that one more time.
You're like, I won't look at him.
I don't want to look at the design. He is a fire crocodile who has like this clown hair made of flames. It's like the bald guy who won't give up on his hair type of haircut where it's only on the sides and it's like going out. Seriously, it's Bozo the Clown hair, but flames, and it's not cool.
I think he looks cool. I think he does look silly, but in a way that I find endearing.
I stuffed him in a locker.
Why did they take a bipedal Pokemon and turn it into a quadruped? You know what I mean?
That's a great point.
Yeah, more heavy. I don't know. Yeah. But like case in point, I found this Pokemon called Tinkaton in my game. It is a fairy and steel type. And I
Nice.
found it, it's this little, like, it looks like a doll, and it's got this big fucking hammer. And I was like, that thing looks cool. I don't know if it's good or not, but it looks cool, and I could use a fairy type on my team. So I put it in my team, and that thing was amazing for the entire game, both DLCs, great Pokemon.
Nice.
And it's just cool that I can be like, that thing looks cool, I'm going to try it out. And like a lot of my team is kind of, I feel like they're kind of weirdo picks, like my Hall of Fame team. By the way, one complaint here, when you beat Pokemon games, you usually get a Hall of Fame screen where it shows like you and your trainer's name and then the 6 Pokemon that you beat the Elite Four with. This game doesn't give you that, which seems like an absolute layup in the age of social media and sharing things.
True.
Like,
we should get that. We deserve it.
We need, like, I should have seen so many Hall of Fame screens on Blue Sky when people beat the DLC or beat the game or whatever.
True.
Like, it should be full of those things. And I was like, all right, I beat the game. I'm going to share this with my, my friends who love Pokemon. I was in the Play Along podcast Discord. They have a Pokemon channel, and I was chatting about the game with them a lot. And I wanted to share a Hall of Fame screen, and they didn't do it for some reason. It seems like a layup.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
They seem really sometimes like obstinate around like not catering to like social media and content creators and stuff like that. Sometimes it seems like they do take advantage of it, but sometimes they seem really like really against it for some reason.
Well, you mentioned like the possibility that they made shiny hunting easier because like people like to watch streamers shiny hunt, or you like to do it yourself. But this is like the easiest possible thing to put in to help people like build hype about your game and have it like spread on social. And it's not here. Yeah. What else about, with the battles, just one other thing. I thought the battles, like the presentation of them was pretty boring. And it's something I've started to pay attention to a little bit more as like I play a lot of turn-based games, and a lot of turn-based games these days like make an effort to make there be some sort of flash or like cool UI or something like that to make turn-based quicker or otherwise more exciting. Whether it's Persona with the UI, the menus, or like a dragon, you can run around and stuff like that. These are they're slow. They look boring. The camera can't handle when one Pokemon's much larger than the other, as another thing like Emily was saying earlier. You can't zoom in or out. You can rotate the camera, but there's several battles where like I just straight up couldn't see the Pokemon in the fight. You just like, you don't need to see because it's turn-based. You don't need to dodge or anything like that. But the presentation left a lot to be desired here.
Yeah, I think that it might be time for them to contemplate like integrating maybe like quick time events or something into it. I think that would really screw with some people who are like diehard Pokemon fans who are just used to, just purely accustomed to this very passive turn-based fighting. But I think it might be time to do something a little different. I think that everything, like all of our major complaints about this game have to do with them taking the most traditional version of what a Pokemon main game is and applying it to kind of a new landscape, like new formats. And I think they just really need to like risk it a little bit and kind of break the old way of doing things. And I think like a little turn-based, having like what if we could parry? What if we could parry a Pokemon attack? That would be crazy. That would be so cool.
Pokemon Obscure Expedition 33.
Yeah. It would completely change fundamentally like how people play, right?
I honestly, I don't ever want Pokemon to go away from being turn-based, but I do think that they need to spice up the presentation of combat to make it more interesting. Even like some of the gym leader battles are like, they're not really, they don't sell the idea of like there's a crowd here watching this and there's excitement in the air. There's like the terrestrialize mechanic is like the biggest presentation thing, and like all the terraforms of the Pokemon look cool. And it's like a moment in the gym battles when when that happens. But other than that, you're just kind of sitting there. Like there were load times on the Switch 2 thing where I'd like key in and attack, and you just sit there and wait a couple beats, and then the attack fires off. You're like, okay, this is it's kind of boring. Like I'm engaged by the fight, but watching the fight is boring. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's true. I'm trying to recall back to Sword, because I feel like Sword was more exciting to watch. But I don't, now it's been years, obviously, since I played.
I can't compare
hard
it to
remember.
Sword, but yeah.
But I agree. In the year of our Lord 2022, there should be something more more eye catching about the battles.
It could just be that, the games that I'm comparing it to that have like made turn-based combat like really flashy, like Expedition 33 or Persona 5, the target audience of 10-year-olds is not playing Persona 5, and maybe they don't need that or want that. There are times when you have to play Pokemon and kind of step back and be like, I'm not the target audience for this. I can still criticize it, but like, yes, I need to know this is primarily for 10 or 12-year-olds. That's the audience that is like going to be fucking obsessed with Pokemon more than me. All right. Well, since we are not 10 or 12-year-olds, and neither are the listeners, let's do our recommendations. What type of people do we think we would specifically recommend this to? An interesting question. Like, I think that if you're like a diehard Pokemon fan, like it sounds like the three of us basically are, you probably already played this, honestly. But if you were holding out and then the Switch 2 came out and you didn't get one, do you think that they should play it? And then I wonder also, like, do you think this is the game that might bring back like disillusioned Pokemon fans or people who didn't previously care about Pokemon?
I was contemplating today what somebody who's like a gamer, right? Like who's got a lot of experience with a lot of kinds of games, like, but had somehow never played a Pokemon game, what their reaction to Scarlet and Violet would be. I don't think it would be good. I don't know that I would ever recommend this as somebody's very first Pokemon game. Would you agree, Kate?
I would definitely agree. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend, because I can think of a couple people right now who are like are gamers, have been gaming their whole lives, but just somehow didn't get into Pokemon, and I would definitely not recommend that they start with this one. But that being said, I've only played Pokemon Switch games, so I don't know. If we're talking about just Switch games, I would definitely recommend like a Let's Go Pikachu first, especially because it focuses on the Kanto region, so you can like get to know the first generation of Pokemon, and it's like really like approachable. Not that this isn't approachable, but I do think that like I kind of feel like someone experiencing Pokemon for the first time would pick this up and be like, "What the fuck? Like, what is this?" So yeah, I don't know. It's a good question though, because I feel like there's just a lot of other better avenues to get into Pokemon. I mean, even with the TCG like Pocket app that's out right now, that's been a gateway for some people, and like just being able to look at the cards every day. So yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say who to recommend this to be honest. But if you are a Pokemon fan, like you said, Dave, like all of us are, like, yeah, you're gonna play it and you're gonna have a time, right? You're gonna probably enjoy a lot of parts of it. So I guess that's where I stand.
I think I'd recommend it to maybe somebody who had not played a lot of open world games.
Yes.
And just didn't have expectations already built up for
Like
what
me.
that could be.
Yeah.
Like
if you're like
you've
me.
never played Breath of the Wild, please, play this one before
This is your
you play
gateway to Breath of the Wild, because I'm about to boot that up as soon as I
Hell
can.
yeah.
So
Let's go.
yeah.
I would also give them the guide though. Like I would recommend that anybody who plays this for the first time not treat it as if it's truly like a nonlinear open world game.
Yeah.
But that said, I think something else that's like sort of just like I don't know, for me a given as part of the Pokemon community is that like I really want a game like this to succeed. I want it to do well on the market because they just seem so cautious in terms of what they're willing to try that's new and different. They have an incredible formula that's worked for, decades now. And they're very clearly very cautious about stepping outside of that. But I think that there's a lot of greatness to be found if they can do that. And so I want them to feel encouraged. I don't want them to retreat back into their little hidey hole of what a traditional Pokemon game is and just continue making those for the next 20 years. So and I feel the same way about Arceus. Like I liked Arceus as well. I also didn't love everything about it, but I really wanted it to do well, and I'm glad they're making another Legends game. So I think that I want these games to succeed because I want them to keep kind of pushing the bounds of what they're doing.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, Pokemon games do succeed financially, so I think they kind of take like half steps with each of the recent ones. So maybe the next half step they take will be making the open world more interesting, making the Pokemon, making the environments feel more realistic, or, trying to tell a better story from start to finish instead of just in the last hour or something like that. There's a lot of directions. We never really know what they're going to do. So, but we do know they're probably not going to take a huge risk. So,
yeah. And we do know we're going to play the games.
Yeah, we do know that we will be there for sure. So I do think that if someone comes into this without a love of Pokemon and you're just like, this is an open world RPG like the other open world RPGs I play, I don't think this is very good. I don't think it's going to stand up to that. So it's not to say that like you won't connect with the Pokemon side of things if you've never played them. You might play this and be like, it's actually really fun to catch all these Pokemon and make my team and do the Pokemon stuff, which it is good. It's just, I think that part of the reason I liked it is because I like Pokemon and I like basically all the Pokemon games I play. There's just a couple that popped to mind that I didn't like. And it's mostly because I thought they were too slow and boring. Sun and Moon, and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. I was very bored by those, but that's like my sacred game. Pokemon Red and Blue. That's the game almost for me. So anyway, Scarlet and Violet, very complicated feelings. We have a spoiler section ahead of us where we will kind of talk about the ending and anything else that's notable. I don't think it's going to be the longest spoiler section, but we do have things to talk about. Before we get there, a little bit of housekeeping. We always start with talking about the stuff that the guests do. And luckily for us this time, Emily and Kate are on the same podcast. So no small games, including Pokemon. Technically not a small game. There are no small games. Please tell people about the website and about the podcast and your Twitch streams, of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you. First off, thank you, Dave, for having us again. So No Small Games started off as a podcast. We're a bi-weekly podcast where we celebrate indie games of all shapes and sizes. We believe that indies can have a huge impact on our lives, and how we see ourselves in the world, regardless of the size of the budget or the size of the team. Generally, every episode, we do a deep dive on one game. We sometimes have on amazing guests like Dave, who came on to talk about mouthwashing.
Mm-hmm.
And then we also do monthly indie game roundups where it's just kind of a free-for-all. We talk about like all the demos, all the games, everything we've been playing, and indie game news. And then Kate, would you like to talk about?
Yeah.
Oh, and you can find No Small Games on all the major podcasting platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And Kate, would you like to talk about the website?
Yes. And so nosmallgames.com, we also have reviews. We both individually write reviews about indie games that we're playing, new releases sometimes. And yeah, all of our episodes are also on the website, so you can listen there. You can read all of our indie game reviews. We also do listicle articles sometimes. Pretty much anything you want to know about us, or if you want to contact us, it's all on our website. It's kind of like our body of work is all there of everything that we've done, including now episodes that we've guested on other shows. So you can find all of that at nosmallgames.com. And we are also on both Blue Sky and Instagram under No Small Games.
Nice. So, I mean, the podcast is good. People listening, I hope you know that. The podcast is good. I always enjoy listening. I enjoy the group of guests that you bring on. Truly awesome people who a lot of times you're pulling from like circles that I'm not a part of. So it's always cool to be like, so many cool people out there making like really good stuff. They have great takes on the stuff that they play. So I appreciate that. But the show is good. And then it's been cool seeing you start to flex the writing muscle more and more on the website as well. So I'll definitely recommend people check those out. But I also think that people should be on the lookout for Twitch streams too. Lately, Emily, you stream pretty regularly. Kate, a little less regularly, but still like you're on there. You're doing the PNG.
I'm doing it. My PNG tube streams. Yeah,
yeah,
pretty cool.
So tell people about the stuff that you stream, the vibes and stuff like that.
Take it away, Emily.
I'll go first. I love Kate's PNG tubers.
It's
yeah,
great.
I'll let Kate describe it. So you can find me on Twitch as A Specific Egg, EGG. And I play pretty much always indie games. I say this in a couple of days. I'm going to be playing a non-indie game for a little bit, but generally always play indie games. I play a lot of the games for the podcast on stream. Lately though, I've been playing a lot of Blueprints because I am very obsessed. So yeah, it's a fun vibe. I love my community. They're so sweet and so funny. And we always love having new folks. So if you want to come by, we would
Come
love to have
hang.
you.
Yeah.
Is that why your room is tinted blue right now? Is because the Blueprints?
That's what I said,
obsession?
Emily.
It's you know what? Yes. As soon as I beat it, I'll change the color.
Fair.
I love it. I love the blue vibe. Yeah, and I'm Cater Blossom on Twitch, and I do stream sometimes. I pretty much always just start with Super Crush KO. It's this game that I'm obsessed with that I haven't beaten, but I will hopefully beat soon before the end of this year because it's on my backlog resolutions. But yeah, I kind of just go with the flow. Like whatever I feel like doing, I will do. I would like to get back into music streams. I've done a couple streams back in the day where I played the ukulele and sang. So music is really important to me, and I'd love to incorporate that into my streams more. But yeah, it's just random, no schedule, because I'm busy, super busy right now. But I do love to stream, and sometimes Emily will even let me knock on her streams, which is, if you're not familiar with Twitch, it's when someone just joins you for a stream. So we like to stream together, and just some fun Emily and Kate lore is that we actually met on Twitch playing games together. So we started playing games together before we started No Small Games. So Twitch, very important to both of us, and you can find us both hanging out there.
Yeah. Good vibes in the streams and a good community as well. I'm always happy to come in and chat, even though I'm not on Twitch very often these days. So I'll put links down in the show notes to the podcast, the website, both of your Twitch pages, so people can easily find it. I'm always on Twitch, like looking whenever I'm on there, and I see that button that says knock, ask to collaborate. And I'm like so afraid I'm going to click it on accident.
You should click it. If I'm streaming, I'd love to have you. You can knock anytime.
I appreciate it. I don't want to like accidentally click and be like, why is Dave asking to collaborate on this stream right now? Especially if it's someone who like doesn't know me, you know?
Rarely, yeah.
Yeah. So, good stuff. Down in the show notes, you'll find everything that Kate and Emily are doing. I did most of my plugs at the top, but I will plug the Discord server per usual. Please come in and join us, join the conversation about Pokemon, join the backlog resolutions. By the time you hear this, the year is almost over. We are going to be starting Backlog Resolutions 2026. So if you've got games in your backlog that you need a little push, a little peer pressure, friendly peer pressure to play, come in and join us. Join the Backlog Resolutions Challenge. So there is an invite link for the Discord down in the show notes. You are all free to join. And with all of that, this has been a long non-spoiler section. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and it will be full spoilers soon for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. All right, before we get to full spoiler time for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, I've got some announcements for you and the customary thank yous. So your boy's been busy. I'm on a lot of podcasts this week. Check me out on the Geeks and Grounds podcast, not only this week, but for all of November and December. As Jenny and I go through Final Fantasy X in a book club style, there will be 4 episodes every other week throughout November and December. Once again, that's Geeks and Grounds podcast. I'm also on the Character Issues podcast with Brian and Rich, and I submitted one of my favorite video game characters in their very scientific style for ranking amongst the greats of all video game characters. Who did I submit, and where did they rank? Well, you're going to have to listen to the Character Issues podcast to find out. And last but not least, I am on the Nostalgium Arcanum podcast, talking about The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the movie. As Doug moves through the whole series for Frodo-vember, I am up to talk about Fellowship, so please go check that out. So once again, Final Fantasy X on the Geeks and Grounds podcast, a fun chat and a mystery character submission on the Character Issues podcast, and The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring on Nostalgium Arcanum. I'll put links for those down in the show notes per usual. Please check them out. And I'd like to say thank you to the wonderful patrons who help support the show. A big shout out and thank you goes out to Chris Nelson, Zulgeek, Chris Copleen, Eric Guess, Rick Firestone, Nick Vicori, Soccer, Cupcake, Kyle, Christian S., Matt aka Stormageddon, JD, Doug Leaf, Jason Emery, Brian Skirsha, Jenny E., Marcus O'Neill, Stefan, Drellish, Rigamort, Silcanet, Levi, John E., Aliasi, Joseph Hooper, Yorkie Duval, Aaron, Squill, Alan Kress, Doug T., Retro Overdrive, one of many Tots, Dan from Canada, and many more. Thank you all for your support. It means a lot to me, and if anyone out there would like to join them, support the work that I'm doing, support independent media, you can do so at patreon.com/realdavejackson. Now, with that being said, let's get back to full spoiler time for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. All right, we're back. It's full spoiler time for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. The usual spoiler section policy goes, we're not going in a linear walk through this gym leader, then this gym leader, then this gym leader. We're not doing that. I said what I need to say about the gym leaders earlier. I don't remember their specific teams. I don't have memories of their specific battles. So we're going to start with just who was on our team at the end of the game. And then we'll talk about the Area Zero and the ending. So if you're like halfway through the game, stop listening because we're just going to spoil stuff really quickly, unless you don't care. So Kate and I wrote down our final teams that we beat the game with, the Elite Four. Kate, tell everybody about your final team.
Okay, my final team. I feel like my age is showing here because there's a lot of Gen 1 Pokemon. But I've got Skeledirge. Is that how we're saying it? I'm gonna call him Fuecoco. I have the final evolution of Fuecoco.
Right.
I have Sylveon, Garchomp, Vileplume, which my favorite Pokemon is Gloom. So I just wanted to say, you both had mentioned something earlier about getting to like play with your favorite Pokemon in your team. So I love that I was able to do that. So Vileplume, and then I had Dragonite and Raichu. And this was I got to give a shout out to my little sister if she's listening, because she's 100%ed this game twice. And she
Jesus.
really helped me. I know, it's wild. It's wild stuff. She hasn't played the DLCs yet, though, because I think she's like afraid to get back into it. But she really helps me like beef up my team and like figure out the best types. Like we had a lot of fun figuring that out together. So yeah, that was my final team, and I didn't have a water Pokemon, but I did try to get some move sets from each type into my party. So yeah.
All right, cool. I'm booting up my Switch to check on my team that beat the second DLC. But my team that beat the Elite Four was Tinkaton, Skeledirge, Dragapult, which is the stealth bomber dragon ghost Pokemon, Clawitzer, who is like a little like crawdad, but has like a big cannon for one of his claws. Really good. Kind of a glass cannon Pokemon, but very strong. Bellybolt, who is like this frog-looking Pokemon, but has a big old belly. Electric type, kind of a tank, very good Pokemon. And then Espathra, who is like an emu, ostrich, but psychic type. And that was the team that beat the Elite Four. Question for you: when you got the opportunity late in the story, maybe after you beat the game, did you ever use Miraidon or the Scarlet equivalent in combat?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Felt weird and wrong. I don't know, and I have no explanation for that.
No, you're so right, Emily. Yeah, it would feel
for
weird.
Sure. Because like the whole time it's like this thing's too weak to battle. It can like fly and swim and stuff, but it can't fight. And then at the end, like it would feel kind of weird to be like, all right, you're back at full health. Get your ass in there and go fight.
It's also like your motorcycle, and just it seems unfair to make the Pokemon that you have to like that carries you everywhere also fight for you.
Too much labor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. You'd be like, yeah, you've been riding the motorcycle for like 10 straight hours, and then it's like, all right, hardest fight in the game, get out there. And it just looks back at you like, kill me, please.
Yeah, it feels wrong.
My final team that beat the last DLC fight, which was really tough, they're between levels 78 and 89. So Metagross, who I think was Gen 3 introduced, very good, like classic, just like great Pokemon. Quagsire, fucking dog in those fights. A level 89, the highest level on the team. I don't know how to say this name. Kommo-o. It is a dragon type introduced in I think it's the first DLC.
Ooh, cool.
Dragon and fighting type, I want to say. It's got these like rings and stuff all over it. It's got these like sound-based attacks. Very strong. Tinkaton, still there, still badass. I caught a Lapras in the second DLC and used that. Just a good Gen 1 callback. And then Ogerpon, the legendary Pokemon from the first DLC, is very strong. And you can change its type between, I want to say it's fire, grass, rock, and water. So I used that in the second DLC. The second DLC fights are very hard. I had to like specifically... So I had like those 6. And then I had like 5 to 10 others that are all ready to go if I needed a specific type. And I liked the fact that the DLC is hard enough that I like, I'd throw that team out. They would get stomped because the types weren't right and the moves weren't right. And I just wasn't ready for specific situations. And then I had to like mix my team up. And I really like when RPGs make me think about my party makeup and stuff like that. So like it was fun to strategize.
Yeah, I think you have some interesting, like, I'm not familiar with a lot of these Pokemon in your party, but you've already sold me on Tinkaton for future if I revisit the game.
Oh yeah, Tinkaton's great.
I will say I remember Tinkaton was on my Elite Four team, as was what is the name? Quaquaval.
The gay duck.
Is that the Quaxley?
Quaxley, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I kept Cloth in my team, who is the rock crabby guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know I had Salazzle. Because
Yeah, I used
Salazzle is still on my
Salazzle.
team.
I used Salazzle in the first, the first DLC. I used Salazzle.
Oh, cool.
It's the poison fire combo is good, even though it's a very weirdly sexy lizard.
Yeah. No, Emily is 100% right.
Uncomfortably sexy.
They definitely were like, let's make this lizard voluptuous, please.
Yeah.
Why do they randomly do that with Pokemon? It makes me so uncomfortable. I'm like,
it's
please.
very
lizard
weird.
is caked up, and you can't not notice.
It stands on two legs. It's really hard to not notice it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. They like feeding into like those Pokemon fans that are like, you know, I've been on Gardevoir for 2 decades now. I need something new. So they're like, like you said, here's a caked up salamander for you.
Yeah. I get the weird rabbit. Like, I get Lopunny.
Oh, Lopunny.
Oh, Lopunny, yeah.
But like the lizard is like a wild left turn there.
Yeah, lizards don't have asses like that in real life.
It's
like
true.
Not even close. Like, have you ever seen a lizard in real life? Like it's a deliberate design decision, like 100%.
Oh, damn.
So, transitioning into the part where they try to make you sad in the story. So Area Zero, the storylines all come together. And so like some backstory for these characters. Arven becomes like the most important side character in the game. There's this character called Professor Turo who's been calling you throughout the game and like helping you out, giving you quests and places to go and stuff like that. He seems to be like the Professor Oak. You know, there's always a professor in the Pokemon games, and it feels like it's this guy. Turns out part of the reason Arven is mad is because Turo is his dad, and Turo was an absentee father, and he was not around. Mabostiff, the Pokemon, was Arven's only friend, but now Mabostiff is injured because of this incident that happened in Area Zero. And so you're trying to nurse Mabostiff back to health. Miraidon was also part of that incident. And Arven gets really pissed off at the beginning of the game because Miraidon just like immediately is like, this new kid, my best friend. Love this kid. And Arven's like, what the fuck ever? Get this thing away from me. So it turns out it all converges on this place called Area Zero. And so you got to go down into Area Zero and like, I don't know, do you remember like, what did you think Area Zero was going to be? Because they play it up as if it's like, it's the most dangerous place. Arven's like, this is where everybody got injured. Like, this place is fucked. Like, Area Zero is tough. You better be ready to go to Area Zero. Do you remember like what you thought before going in there?
I think I was expecting some sort, because of the zero and like patient zero and like quarantine area. I think I was kind of expecting some sort of like radioactive, like zombie scenario.
Yeah. I was expecting like a Fallout, type situation. Kate, do you remember?
I feel like I probably was just ready to get my ass kicked and that was it. Like, I don't know.
Fair enough. It turns out Area Zero is not like that, though. Area Zero is a verdant paradise. And it's like, it feels so like you're just descending constantly. You go deeper and deeper and deeper as you go into this place. And the scenery and like the vistas are really, really good. Like I said, if anyone's played Xenoblade Chronicles, it's a Xenoblade Chronicles level. It's like the scale of it is really cool. And you learn that there's these Pokemon, Miraidon included, who are from the future. And so like Turo opened a time portal and let these future Pokemon through. And one of the things I thought was really great is as you go deeper and deeper and you get closer to this like lab where all this shit happened, you see more and more of these Pokemon from the future. There's I think it's called Cyclizar is the one that Miraidon is in a future version of. You see a future version of Delibird, who's this goofy ass like bird from Gen 2, who's like this bird carrying Christmas presents.
So cute, so necessary.
Yeah. But it's like, it's made of metal in the future. And you're like, what happened to Delibird in the course of evolution? Like, why did this happen? So you descend and you see all these more and more future Pokemon as you go, which is like, it's awesome environmental storytelling. They never fucking do that in the main game. Not a single time. But in Area Zero, they do it, and it's awesome. So you find out, actually, that Turo died down in Area Zero. There was this incident where a second Miraidon came out from this time portal, got in a fight with your Miraidon. Yours lost, which is why it can't fight for most of the game. Mabosstiff got hurt in that fight, and Turo died in that fight. Threw himself in to protect this Pokemon, which is probably why Arvin hates it. Because, like, it's your fault that my dad died, probably.
Valid.
So that's like the big revelation. And like you have this like absentee father storyline. Arvin's coming down. He finds out that his dad died. And the one you've been talking to is an AI recreation of him, because when he was down here doing research, nobody was going to be as good a lab assistant as a copy of himself. So he made a copy of himself. And that, isn't it the goofiest fucking storyline?
Yes.
Like, just like what someone with an ego would do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like you learn all of this in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
No, it's all in the last hour or like 2 hours of your playtime. You learn all of this.
Yeah.
For all you knew up until then, Turo was just like a normal ass Pokemon professor who's just down here researching, just working. But it's like really difficult to get there. So like you got to go check on him or something. You have to be really strong to go in there. So it's actually kind of hype when you jump in, because you go in with Nimona, you go in with, I forget her name, La Primera.
Penny.
Oh, Penny? Penny with the glasses?
Yeah, the one from the Team Zero storyline, she goes in with you. And then the one with the Elite Four one with just the most insane hair you've ever seen.
So cool. What is her name, though? Don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one they call La Primera, so I'll just call her that. But you all four, you jump on Miraidon together, and you like jump into this crater, and it's like kind of this cool moment. And Arvin is there too. Yeah. So yeah.
Poor guy.
So what happened?
I also I need to call out the fact that when you learn that Arvin's dad died, he's not even in the room. The AI professor's basically like, his dad's dead, I'm ChatGPT, we have to shut down this time machine.
Right.
And it's like,
that's a lot. Yeah.
It feels like it's dumped on you, and there's no like dramatic tension to it.
Well, it's because they're not good storytellers. That's why. Like they have a creative idea, but they didn't like set this up consistently throughout the story. Then you go and it's like, here's the insane lore dump about everything that's been going on. And then like, I don't know, like you're supposed to feel for these characters. Like this Arvin finds out his dad is dead. And actually, is Arvin with you in Area Zero? I feel like he has to be, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
But he's not in the room
not
when
in the
you
room.
find out.
You're the only one in the room talking to the AI guy.
The only person who actually needs to hear this is the one who's not there. But yeah, you have like these characters, and they all have like a role in this like group traveling to Area Zero, but they're just like, they're not real characters. Like they can't be a part of a story that means anything, in my opinion, or a story that touches you, because they're not real people. They're not close to it. Arvin is the closest one, but like you said, like they didn't think it was important for him to be in the room to find out about that.
That's wild.
So,
at least let him be in the room. Like, come on.
The cool part, I think this is cool because of what you find out. You find out that the Turo opened this time portal, and there's these Pokemon from the future spilling into the present day. And it's bad because these future Pokemon they're so much tougher than the Pokemon from our time. They're just gonna kill all of them and take over the ecosystem. They're gonna destroy the ecology of the world, which is like cool. Like we're doing stories about these animals. Like, yeah, tell me about what would it be like if hundreds of these Miraidon come out and they just start stomping all the Psyducks and stuff like that. Like it's an interesting idea for the story. And like, those are stakes that I can believe in a Pokemon game with this. So it works in my opinion. So you have to shut down this time machine. But Turo's AI was designed to protect the time machine, even though it's telling you have to shut it down. So you're going to have to Pokemon battle him. Even the AI things, like even the AI robot is like, we will settle this via a Pokemon battle, right? Like I am sworn to defend this thing to the death, but not like the death of my physical body. If you defeat me in a Pokemon battle, then you can shut down the machine and shut me down. It's goofy. It's goofy.
It's very goofy.
It's a tough fight though. I thought that like the presentation of the fight is cool. It's on like this tower. It was kind of difficult.
It kind of reminded me visually a lot, like this like moment of the game. I was like thinking about 1,000 Times Resist a lot. I was like, oh, I kind of wish I was playing that game, but it's like visually reminding me of it a little bit. Yeah, this whole part. But I do think like the Pokemon, like, is it Jigglypuff that has like a weird, like, I don't know what the future version is called, but I think like
they have weird names.
Yeah, they have different names.
They're different.
But the Jigglypuff from the future has cool hair. It's a cool vibe. I think it's like fun to see the designs of the future Pokemon. But yeah, this
its
whole part,
name is Screamtail.
Screamtail. I love
Hell
it.
yeah. That's great. I wish, because like I don't know exactly how many. I want to say there's like less than 10 Pokemon from the future. I wish they were all old Pokemon.
Like, you mean like from the first generation?
Right. Like future Jigglypuff, future Delibird. Those are good because like we recognize them and we're like, whoa, what the fuck happened to Delibird? Why is it made of metal now? And then the other ones are like, they're newer. Like Pokemon that I didn't know. When I saw it, I was like, I don't know even what this
like,
is.
Who are you?
Yeah. Which is like, okay, I guess. Like you could, deep in the future, Pokemon could evolve to look something that's like unfamiliar. But I don't think the kids would care if they saw it. They wouldn't have the context anyway. They wouldn't care. I wish they threw us a bone more and be like, what does Farfetch'd look like, thousands of years into the future? Or like a future Snorlax. Give me Snorlax from like millennia in the future, however long this is supposed to be. Everyone's made of metal. What would be the funniest old Pokemon to be made of metal?
That's a great question. Ponyta? I don't know. That would look pretty cool.
Ponyta, Ditto, yeah.
That's just a transformer at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's an interesting idea for a story, and it's the thing. Like the thing with Turo being like the absentee father who turns out he died and it's an AI thing, like I couldn't feel any emotion from that. It's a little bit too goofy and it was way too disconnected throughout the meat of the game. The experience of going through Area Zero as like a level, seeing the different Pokemon, seeing the environmental storytelling, and then finding out like Pokemon from the future, which is, I actually think that's cool. I think they pulled that off. I think that's why this worked for me. It was not the storyline with Turo and Arvin. So you eventually defeat the AI Turo. Miraidon is able to go back into combat and it actually beats the final thing. It's like, it's a scripted thing, but I did have to heal twice during this like scripted power up battle. I don't know if you two remember, but like, it takes a bunch of turns before you can terrestrialize and like actually beat the AI Turo thing. And during that time, Miraidon can't fight. It's just taking attacks the whole time. So I had to full restore twice during that just to make it, which is weird.
I think I did that too.
Funny. Yeah.
I guess gamifying, like, you got to help this thing. It needs some help to get through it. But like if you just sat there and was like, okay, can't heal, so I'll pass, I guess. And then you just die. Like if you don't heal it, like, or will the game take care of you? I don't know.
I was funny. I was trying to remember when I had saved last. I was like, oh my God.
Oh yeah. It was probably because you watched a bunch of cutscenes and stuff like that for sure. So yeah, there's that storyline. At the end, AI Turo, in order to stop the time machine, goes into the future. So why does that stop the time machine? Who fucking knows?
And also, I think that it's not better. I don't know. This is my take. I don't think it's better to send somebody from the past into the future. I don't think that that's better than sending future things back to the past. Maybe it is. I don't know.
Maybe AI Turo's going to jump out of the time machine in the future and they're just going to like tear him to pieces. That's probably the best case scenario.
Probably.
There's a bunch of like Miraidon and shit out there and they just like rip them apart. That's probably the best. But yeah, it's like we've got to turn off the time machine. Like, brother, like flip the lever, press the off button.
Yeah. He's like, I've always wanted to see the future. But
you're literally a robot. Yeah. They don't want to see you. I can assure you that. So yeah, like we kind of shit on the story because it's goofy, but like I did think the Area Zero stuff was legitimately like a cool level to go through.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, I do wish they had done just so much more of that throughout the rest. They had opportunities to in other story moments or story areas too.
I just think like Nintendo has shown, like, I can't say it's Nintendo because it's Game Freak, but like they do stuff every now and then where they're like, you do have cool ideas. You're just clearly not interested in prioritizing the story the whole time. That kind of storyline that I was interested in with like, I've kind of thought about it, like as a pet owner, like what if they did a storyline where like this person's Pokemon is old? Like, what is that like? And they kind of do that, but you heal Mabostiff back to fighting shape. So it's like, that's not a thing in the story anymore. It becomes about Arven and Turo, which is less interesting to me. I guess I'm more interested in like all those questions that you would ask if you like, you play Pokemon for your whole childhood and then you grow up and you're like, someone's like, I wish Pokemon were real, or I wish I got brought into the Pokemon world. And you start to think about like, what actually would that be like? There are thousands of questions, right? Like, do you eat the Pokemon? What is it like when they get old? What is it like if they get sick? Like, do Pokemon get sick? I think they do. And the Pokemon Center's magic healing doesn't work anymore. Like, what is that like? And they kind of start to touch on that. And that's why I thought it was interesting. And then we get into this like time travel storyline that like, if on the Pokemon curve, it's all right. The ecological side of it was more interesting to me, but
yeah, I also feel
do you ever think about those things? Like, like if they're making a Pokemon game, what types of things do you wish they would make the story about?
I feel like focusing a lot on the Pokemon's relationships that they have with each other. Like, I don't know, I think that would be interesting. Like, just like thinking about what is it called? The TV show that was out, the first TV show about Pokemon. Is it called Indigo League, I think?
The anime?
Yeah, I feel like watching that, there's a lot of examples of like the ways that Pokemon can care for each other and the relationships that they have together and friendships even. Like, that's interesting to me personally, in addition to kind of what you already called out, Dave. But yeah, there could be Pokemon games out there that kind of explore that. But I can't really think of that many specific examples in the games that I've played. So
not with that specifically. I think the reason that people always say that the black and white games have good stories, and people say good for Pokemon, or like not good on the Pokemon scale, like just straight up good, which I'm, I don't quite believe that. I'm going to have to play it to believe that, because I think that the Scarlet and Violet story is good on the Pokemon curve. I don't think that it's good, on its own merits. But I think that the reason people like that, if I remember right, is they kind of dive into the ethics of battling Pokemon, which is, it's a huge thing. If Pokemon were real and if you love your Pokemon, why are you making them fight a dragon?
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there like something that you would wish they would dive into, Emily, like from a story perspective?
There are all kinds of like other areas of society that don't really get touched at all. And I think partly because every game is about a kid, and like it's kind of all baked in around that journey, and you need some reason to like have to go explore. But like I think there are a lot of like interesting medical implications, like you're saying, like what if are there diseases? Are there like communicable diseases that Pokemon get? Or like economic things? How the hell does this entire world function economically? It doesn't, you don't get a sense of what that looks like.
The whole economy is Pokemon battling.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah, and how is it that the kids that you battle hanging out in the fields like have so much money to give you when you beat them? Like, you know,
what do they do after that? Like? Now they're homeless because you took all their money after that fight.
That's rough, yeah.
Yeah, gotta go back home, I guess.
I am thankful that we've eventually moved away from like every single Pokemon game being about organized crime, like you know. So that's progress. But yeah, I think that there are lots of other interesting implications. I'll give like a quick little plug to a friend of mine who on Twitch goes by Tom Scoop. He's running a D&D campaign on stream that is based in the Pokemon world, and he's got this really interesting story that he's come up with that focuses on Pokemon no longer breeding, basically, like no longer hatching eggs. So like what would the world look like if suddenly Pokemon weren't reproducing? Right.
Yeah, that's fair. I remember the first games, they had like history of like the Pokemon War that they talked about. And it's like, what is that like are you like a person trying to fight against a Pokemon in the war? You know, a lot of interesting stuff. Like the Pokemon universe is set up with so few specifics that like there's so much room to ask questions and start to tell cool stories. And I think like the thing with Mabostiff is like one of those that like, yeah, like your Pokemon can't take care of you anymore. You have to take care of it. What is that like?
Yeah.
And it like, I maybe I came off as like saying like the Turo storyline is like bad. I don't think it's bad. It's just not, it's like, it's time travel. So like by nature, time travel is like, wow, look at what's going on here. But that it's not affecting at all. But like, I think you could really tap into people specifically, like if you associate Pokemon with pet ownership or just loving animals in general, you could tap into like real emotional things there. Mabostiff doesn't die. So if anyone was worried about that, he doesn't die. He comes back, he fights against you several times. And then not your character personally, but you in battle. So it's like, yeah, okay, you're healthy. Now get out there, go fight my friend who's the strongest Pokemon trainer of all time. Like, what is that relationship like? Like to expect that of this thing that you supposedly love so much. I got to play Black and White and see what they do with that type of content.
I was hoping that by virtue of like having these Pokemon traveling in from the future, that we would learn something about how society is evolved or changed in the future. Yeah, what are there still Pokemon trainers? What if there aren't? What if the Pokemon revolt? Like, what if Pokemon and humans do not associate at all? You know, that would be fascinating.
Yeah,
those future Pokemon are like, with the example of the Miraidon that you fight, they're like really strong and scary, and they fuck up multiple Pokemon. They killed a guy. Like, what if in the future, like you said, Pokemon are just like too dangerous to try to do that? I mean, like the canonical Pokemon in the present day, all of them are basically the most dangerous creature that would, like, if they were in our real world, they would all be the most dangerous thing. You know, they breathe fire, they shoot electricity, but like, did they cross a point where they're like, you can't even go near that thing, it'll kill you in the future? Like, what if there's no people? We don't know anything about the Pokemon in the future. Did Miraidon kill all of the people? We don't know.
You know what? Now that I think about it, the Mewtwo storyline was really good.
It was good.
The Mewtwo storyline, yeah.
Yeah, like, we need to bring that kind of thing. They actually came up with a great first story for the world.
Yeah.
So props
Bring it
to
back.
them.
Yeah. Real quick. So you two actually did the first DLC. So you know the storyline with Carmine and Kieran. I think this is so terrible. Like, it's just such a bad story. Basically, there's this storyline with like these mythical 3 Pokemon, and then there's this ogre Pokemon. And the town has this legend about how these 3 Pokemon came and saved the town from this evil ogre Pokemon. It's presented as if it's like, this is like BC times, like it's way long. All of these Pokemon are still here. They're still alive. How does that, like, do Pokemon live for thousands of years? Because that's the thing I got here. But anyway, there's the storyline where like the local myth is wrong. It's actually that the ogre is the good one and the 3 are evil. And you like learn the truth about this. And there's this kid named Kieran who like wants badly, he wants to be your friend. And like he starts out the DLC as your friend. And then everyone just fucking lies to Kieran and gaslights him about these legendary Pokemon until he becomes the Joker. And he becomes he's on this like revenge story to beat you in a Pokemon battle because everyone was so mean to him. And he's just like, you know what? I'm going to become as strong as possible because that's how you get revenge in these, in this world, is through the strength of your Pokemon, I guess. But like his sister lies to him at every opportunity. Your character is forced to lie to him at every opportunity for no reason whatsoever. They're just mean to this kid. So yeah, before we move on to the second DLC where they continue this storyline, what did you think about this first DLC?
Yeah, I feel like I enjoyed the DLC, like on the level of like exploring the world, not really catching Pokemon, but like doing the battles of the 3 bad Pokemon that we were told were good. And I do think the mask stuff was interesting, and Ogerpon is a cool and really cute Pokemon. So I enjoyed that. And I will say in the first half of the DLC, I had a lot of faith for the character that you play as and the enemies relationship. Like I was like, oh, I feel like we're going to become friends. Like this is cool. But then, yeah, it just kind of really went off course. And I was like, I don't understand why. It didn't feel good to lie to him and like only have the choice to lie. And after that, I kind of checked out of the story. So I don't know. But I'm glad that I played it. I thought it was like enjoyable as a whole, but the story stuff definitely not anything to write home about. So
yeah, I liked the little legend that you learn about.
The legend is cool.
Yeah, it has an interesting twist. Something I found really fascinating, and I didn't completely understand by the end what parts of the legend were not true, because in the legend, Ogerpon kills these 3 Pokemon.
Yeah.
So you learn that he wasn't evil. He didn't fight them for no reason. They were bullies to him. So you've got this parallel thing between Carmine and Kieran and these Pokemon and Ogerpon. But it is sort of implied that maybe Ogerpon did kill them, but like he was.
But they were like, they're like trickster evil Pokemon. So like,
were they just faking it? Were they faking being dead? Because
they like got brought back to life or something.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
Because this legend is like hundreds, possibly thousands of years old, and all of these Pokemon are still here. So
yeah,
there's something weird going on in either case.
Also, I'm wondering, like, sorry, this is just a question. I'm curious if this was an experience that only I had, but in the DLC, when you, like, you know how you can, like, terrestrialize or whatever, how come no one else does that to you during all the battles except for Ogerpon at the end? Like, did that happen to y'all, or was it just me?
That's a good question. Maybe, so you go to a different place. Maybe the story explanation is like, because you can terrestrialize because you're so close to Area 0 where like that energy is coming from. Maybe this place is too far and these people just don't have it.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I was just
But that doesn't explain Ogerpon, so I don't actually know.
Yeah, I'm like, but why aren't they doing it? Like, it feels unfair that I can do it and they don't ever do it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing it. I was like, oh wait, I could still do that, but they're not doing it. But I just thought that was weird.
I just felt like there were a lot of unexplained things. And then Carmine is just so annoying and so mean to Kieran.
She's the worst. And so like they do this thing where they're, like Kate said, I think it was Kate, they set up these like parallel storylines of the legend and then the story of Kieran. And it really feels like Kieran and Ogerpon should be best friends because they're both these like misunderstood characters, and like Kieran needs a Pokemon buddy. And then at the end, there's like, they set it up where it's like, Kieran's going to get Ogerpon and like, we're going to be okay with it. And then you just take it. And then like someone lies to Kieran and says like, you could never do this. And it's like, he probably could, he's fine. And then at the end, they make you do this fight where it's like, you catch Ogerpon. You're in a thing where you have no choice but to catch it. And then you do this fight with Kieran where it's like, Kieran, if you win, you get to keep Ogerpon, and then you just beat the shit out of him and take it.
And then on top of that, there's that part where after that, because you would think it would be over, but don't worry, we have to do 10 more battles. You have to do the battle where you go against, what's her name? The horrible sister? Carmine?
Carmine, yeah.
You go against Carmine and she's like, but I really want to battle with Ogerpon, so can you put him back in your party? Because I put him in my boxes, like, sorry, even though I really love him. But I was like, fine, I'll put him back in my party. But then I didn't even have to put him out on the field. Like, it was just like, I just beat her and it was over. And I'm like, huh? Like, I don't know. Yeah, lots of weird.
Yeah.
Lots of questions for me on this.
People need better reasons to want to Pokemon battle you.
Yeah, totally.
It's a little bit too much of a stretch all the time.
All the time.
It feels like the anime trope of just like the rival, where like everyone in Pokemon games is your rival. It's the only type of like interaction that you can have with people is either like your like professor, like is like your mentor character, and then you have a rival, and those are the only ways that people interact in Pokemon. Nobody falls in love in the world of Pokemon. Everyone's just a rival.
There's all kinds of relationships you could explore, you know?
Yeah.
There's not just like mentor and rival. There's lots of fun ways we could go about this.
Yeah. Well, we see how they treat sibling relationships in this DLC.
Yeah.
Because the thing that makes it suck is there's no reason for people to do this to Kieran. They just start lying to him for no reason and hiding things from him. And he finds out the truth and he brings it up. And I remember a specific point where your character has like a text option to like, Kieran says like, you're going to go meet Ogerpon, aren't you? And your text options are like to say no or like say nothing or something like, and it's like, everyone's just lying to him for no reason. So he turns into the Joker, and that's the second DLC. You go to this other Pokemon Academy that's like all battle focused, and they have like their own student leadership council of the strongest fighters. And before you get there, Kieran goes and beats everyone and becomes like the head leader of the school. And he's just seething with hatred because of how everyone's been treating him. And it's kind of cool. You're in this underwater facility, and it's broken into these 4 quadrants. Each quadrant is its own biome. So there's like a mountain biome, there's like a grass biome, there's an icy biome, and then there's probably another one that's like another grassy one, something like that. You go to the 4 biomes and you beat the 4, head trainers in each one, and then you fight Kieran at the end. It's a really hard fight, but you beat him. I think he like comes to, and he's like, we can be friends again or something like that. Why? Yeah. All everyone's done is lie to me and beat me in Pokemon battles, but suddenly I'm like, yeah, we're cool now. That one is much less story focused, but the battles were great. I want to reiterate that. They were great. At the end of that, you can go back to Area 0, and there is nothing new there. You go back, except there's a new legendary Pokemon called Terapagos, who's this turtle. Someone catches it. I want to say it's Kieran, and he can't control it. And it goes into this like really gimmicky boss fight where you and Kieran team up to fight it. And it's really, really difficult to it's like the final boss of the entire game. It's really hard. So you do it, you beat that, and then yeah, that's the end. There's no real like story resolution that I thought was like good. There was no saving this storyline because of just how bad it was.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, they finally they bring in this new character named Snacksworth, who there's a mechanic where you can have picnics with your Pokemon. I never did this a single time. I remember it from Sword. I thought it was awful in Sword, so I never did it. Except for when Arvin makes you make a sandwich at a certain point in the story. But if you do 10 picnics with your Pokemon, this guy will give you a snack, which corresponds to an old legendary Pokemon from previous games. And they show up. It feels like busy work, but it's also like, couldn't we have had those like in the regular game, like not extreme post-game stuff? Like, I couldn't tell you how cool it would have been to like, I keep coming back to this, but like to go to the top of that mountain, to go to that lake, go down inside, and Articuno's inside. Like, that would be so cool.
That would have been sick. Yeah,
but
I feel like
nothing. It's saved until the very end. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I wanted to spoil the thing that I was going to say earlier because now we're in spoilers, which is like one of my favorite parts of the DLC was when you go to the Crystal Lake. Again, don't know if I'm calling it the right thing. And the melodic, I think that's what they're called, like pops out. I was like, oh shit, like I'm paying attention. This is so cool. So I wish, more moments like that would have been awesome with really cool Pokemon. So I'm with you there.
Yeah. More of things like that is something we'll look forward to in the future. More thoughtful placement of Pokemon, more exciting discoveries, I think, is like the biggest thing. And they do get into that a little bit, but we will see when we get there. But for now, this has been a fun chat about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Very, very deeply complicated and conflicting feelings about this game. Glad I played it, if not only to have a fun conversation with the both of you. So thank you, Emily and Kate, for coming back and doing this with me.
Aww.
Thanks for having us. This was so fun. I feel very lucky to have gotten to have this chat, and also very lucky that Kate and I don't cover every Pokemon game on Earth.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think I can be objective about these.
Yeah. It was really awesome to be invited back on. So thank you for having us. And I love this game so much, just like I love all the Pokemon games, but it was just like nice to be able to do a deep dive and chat about it with both of you and thinking about it a little bit differently now and noticing some different things. So yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us. And yeah, this was great.
Of course. And again, one more time, thank you to both of you for going off-brand for a Pokemon game.
We wouldn't do it for anyone, Dave.
Yeah, there we go. So thank you both. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you to everyone who is still with us here at the end. I will give one final call. Please look in the show notes for everything that Kate and Emily are doing on Twitch streams and No Small Games, both the podcast and the website. Lots of good stuff to check out. So thank you for being here all the way to the end. You are my hero, as always. Tune in next week for the next game to come out of the backlog.
Welcome to No Small Games, the indie gaming recap and review podcast. I'm Kate, also known as Cater Blossom.
And I'm Emily. You might also know me online as The Specific Egg.
And we met streaming and playing video games on Twitch.
At No Small Games, we combine our favorite genres to experience everything the indie game world has to offer and share it with all of you. We believe there are no small games, only small game studios.
Each episode, we'll choose one indie game that we each played separately and discuss our playthrough experience together.
The good, the bad, and our most memorable moments. We'll follow our recap with a review and announcement of which indie game will be featured on our next episode.
We invite you to play each game along with us and would love to hear from you about your playthrough experience.
Hey, Kate.
Hey, Emily.
I hope that No Small Games brings everyone some big fun.
You should listen to the Character Issues podcast. It's a scientific podcast where me, Brian Edwards, your host du jour, and my co-hosts, Leah Haydu.
Everyone loves Blitzball. I hate Blitzball. Fuck Blitzball.
And Rich Davison.
Are you implying that he intentionally tried to run over his daughter and then sort of bloviated a journey around Silent Hill to make sure that she could bleed out in the process?
Work towards building a list of the greatest video game characters of all time. Every character will be ranked. Every character shall be ranked. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you find your podcast. Character Issues is available for download. So, if you're interested in the hard-nosed science and definitely not a comedy podcast hosted by a couple of numbskulls, you should check out the Character Issues podcast because, let's face it, it's better if you do.